Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hey-o!
Hey! Welcome to the
are.
Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Hump Day already. Wednesday.
Crazy, man.
Tyvis is in the building.
Hey.
Happy New Year, Ty.
Happy New Year to everybody.
You're
out
feeling
there,
good
man.
today, aren't you?
It's, you know what? My jersey number in college was 23. I had a lot of great experiences
Because
with the
of
number
Jordan?
23. No, because of me.
Jordan wore
Everybody
23
knows.
because of you.
Listen, everybody knows that my birthday is February 16th.
I did
His
know.
I
is
did
at
not know that.
February 17th. I am exactly 16 minutes greater than Michael Jordan. I was born at 11:34. He was born.
He was
is
born
on
far
this-
before you, though.
That's not.
Is that the
see, what you
least-
talking about is irrelevant. Okay. it's
Don't let the
irrelevant.
facts get in the way.
Some weird arguments made on this show.
This
Weird
is-
points. That might
Yeah.
take the cake as the weirdest
16
moment.
Well, how about this,
16
though?
minutes greater.
You know we never brought up the other day.
What time are you born?
11:34.
That would
There
be
you go.
26 minutes.
The other
It
day,
is, ain't it?
Mikey
I gotta do my
tweeted,
math.
what was it? Who would win? What was the thing you tweeted?
Oh, so you want the
Go ahead.
backstory on that?
Yeah,
I never
bring
actually
this
gave
up.
you the backstory, Bull. So the play we're going to break down today when
Yeah.
Coach Tyvis takes the
Two
iPad.
plays today.
Two plays. One of them's from Deshaun Watson.
Right.
And Tyvis sent me the play. We were
Oh,
talking
I know
about
what
it. We
you're
talked
talking
about it on
about.
Monday. It's
Yeah.
a cover two beater.
Right.
And Tyvis sent me the play, and I was like, yeah, that's a dart, but he wouldn't complete that on me and you if we were back there. And Tyvis was like, yeah, not a chance. Of course not. And then I
It's
just
a fact.
thought, like,
It's a
I
fact.
wonder how many throws if Bull was at quarterback with David Bell and modern-day Wayne Corbett, like today.
I don't know
Yeah.
how you came up with Wayne Corbett.
Very, very random.
yeah.
If it was me and Tyvis,
Because
Although
small.
every
Corbett is
white kid in
small.
New York loved
Yeah.
Wayne Corbett.
Yeah, but
at that
Corbett
time.
was tiny.
Yeah.
yeah, he's
So
like it's a good
McNuggets would have a
physical
chance.
matchup.
All right,
Good
David
physical
Bell
matchup.
and then you gave me the biggest insult you ever have, Mike. I'm not really offended by it, but it was a big insult.
What was the? I said if there was
What-
20 passes and they had to pass the line of scrimmage, no shovel passes, no
Right,
screens.
right.
And Bull was steady quarterback. David Bell and Wayne Corbett versus me and Tyvis. How many completions? Is
I
he
said at
making?
least
Completing.
50%, if not more. Because I'm throwing to an NFL player. I won't throw Tyvis's way. I will just throw to you.
Yeah, but Corbett's like 50.
Corbett's 53.
Yeah.
Okay. You're telling me that he would have a better chance of defending Wayne Corbett than I would of throwing the ball to Wayne Corbett?
I've
Come
never
on.
seen you throw a football, so I
I've
don't
seen
know.
Bull throw a baseball.
But
Pretty good form.
I can throw.
I'm guessing
I'm not
because of
running
your
around.
basketball background, and I know you were known for defense.
I was.
Imagine you've got decent cover skills.
Yeah.
I could
I don't
go-
know about
listen,
50%. Tyvis, I know he's going to complete 0 balls to Bell.
I wouldn't throw to him.
I know you wouldn't.
David Bell, you might as well just
How
take
many
the
would Bull-
day off, David, because you're not.
He's
It's
taking,
not coming.
He's taking a lot of
It's
days
not
off.
coming.
All right, how about this?
You're hilarious.
How would Bull fare? Forget you and Bell.
What the
It's Corbett and Bull, and you're in coverage, but you've
And it's
only
not
got
all day. It's
you've
not
only
all
got
day.
4 seconds
Yeah.
to throw the ball.
Okay.
How many passes
So
has he completed?
this is the thing, and I tell this to like my nephew and all of that. The quarterback matters because even if Wayne Corbett was to beat McNuggets,
you still got to put the ball to him.
exactly. But Bull is not an NFL quarterback, so
He's not.
no.
Who knew?
So
Wow,
so
breaking
the
news.
ball. So when Corbett wins the route,
Yeah.
usually they out of the break the ball is humming and it's
Right,
right there.
yeah.
So it doesn't allow the DB to recover.
So does he complete
in this,
10?
In this scenario,
Yeah.
he'll put some air on the ball. McNuggets has a lot of time to recover.
Yeah.
He could still make the
And
So
keep
play.
you're
in
saying
mind-
no, he
hold
will
up,
not
hold up.
complete
Keep in
half of
mind,
his passes.
Tyvis.
I'm not saying that he won't complete half of his passes, but without having chemistry, I would say out of 20 passes, I give him 5.
Can you reach out to Corbett? I'm sure he's doing nothing
I
better.
will.
And
Also,
would love to
I
fly
want
to Cleveland
the
for
measurables
this.
out there. I may not be tall, very long wingspan. My back and torso's all screwed up, but I got long arms.
Yeah,
So,
but I bet you're not much shorter than Corbett. Corbett was listed, I think, at 5'9"
Yeah,
or
but
10.
Mike weighs like 110 pounds.
Take the day off.
You know, this is very easily.
Yeah.
We can figure this out very easy.
I'm looking for Jake.
Wait
a minute. I'm looking for Jake Mooney and from St. Ignatius.
I still need that.
By
I
the way,
need the one.
let's do this. I cannot throw deep. I don't have a strong arm. I played first base.
what I'm saying?
But I was always very accurate.
Yeah, that was
It's gonna
like
take
a long
30
time
years
ago.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm
Have
just
you thrown a
press
football in
coverage
the
the whole
last?
time.
Of
Tyvis,
course, I
if you
can
can't
catch with my son all the
Hold
time.
on, hold on, hold on.
No, I think
Watch
Bull
this.
might be able to get the ball there.
Short passes. I would
Here's
do
what
short
we're gonna
passes.
do. There's a remedy.
Yeah.
We're gonna play with a Nerf turbo.
No. If we're playing a Nerf ball, it doesn't count. It's a
If
real
you
size.
playing with
Nerf ball, they're not stopping me.
No, Nerf ball is not stopping them.
Bull is bull of science.
My son and I played
Is
this
this
game.
show canceled yet, by the way?
My son and I
Is
played
there
this
anything
game.
less compelling than what we're talking about right
My
now?
son and I play this game called Hut Hut in the house, right?
Oh, nice.
We have like this Nerf.
And your wife loves that
She
game.
don't care.
Really?
Don't break anything. It's a Nerf ball. But here's the thing.
Is it just the snap count?
I sit on the couch, and he runs routes, and I throw it to him. And then he's got to catch it. And
Let me hear your cadence. Give us a cadence.
I don't. I'm just like hut or go, whatever.
All right.
And he just.
Everybody's got a cool cadence,
but
I think.
Then he's got to run back, and I throw it back to him.
Hey, you know what I
And
love?
we see how many he can go consecutively without dropping the ball. His
My
record-
son and I did that.
his record
same
is
exact
220.
thing.
22.
I really love how white people.
222.
I love how white people's friends with their kids. Like y'all got partners for life. Y'all got.
Oh my
buddies.
God, absolutely.
Y'all got.
Wait, I
buddies.
encourage this. You're not?
I ain't saying I don't.
Now, in full disclosure,
Yeah.
when we went to the Guardians game to throw out the first pitch,
Yeah.
one of our staff of 8 that went brought their parents.
Right, that was
Who
me.
was it?
That's
That was
true.
me.
Wow!
That was you.
You're throwing stones living in a glass house.
Watch this. Watch
And by
this.
the way,
Yeah.
don't be ashamed to be friends with your
here's
parents.
that.
Wait a second.
That's a beautiful thing.
Wait a second. Wasn't your dad your coach for baseball?
Yeah. So
Okay, you have a close relationship with your parents.
I hope everyone does.
He about to make his point. Let him
my
make his
point
point.
is, when
Yeah.
when we got play after a certain age, that we wasn't friends when he was on the court. Like I came back from we was playing football in the street.
Yeah.
And so I lined up against him, bro. I was like a
Oh,
freshman
you'll
in
go
college.
through that.
Dude.
You challenged him?
Already?
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
I got up in press coverage,
oh my pops didn't let me
and
win.
I
even
jammed
as
him off the line of scrimmage, and he tore his Achilles heel.
Dude, but let me tell you something.
And that ended that friendship.
I'm about to say that was into that.
My
go
son
through
and I
that.
wrestle.
Yeah.
I'm rough. I don't like take it easy on
Yeah,
him.
and the
he
older
win?
he gets and the more he matches
No.
your physical
Okay.
stature, Bull,
Yeah.
you will have sweat dripping off your body in
Yeah.
competitions with your
Sweat
son.
dripping
I
off
know.
your ball.
Yeah.
I
I play
know.
basketball. I'm trying to get him to be physical and basketball.
McNuggets is in there trying to save the show, saying, "Please,
Hey,
let's get
people
on
love this crap.
Let's give a rundown of what's coming up. Leroy
Yeah.
Hoard, Robert Smith, tears from the Buckeyes, tears from the Wolverines. That's what's going to happen.
It's the last time we're gonna talk when they get.
Yeah. Once they take over the show again. Coach Tyvis breaking down 2 plays: the Denzel Ward pick and a completion from Deshaun Watson. True or false? Bull, this is true, is
Yeah.
the defending champion.
I am.
Also true, the last time I was here and we played, I won.
I don't think so. I think you won 2 times ago.
I did. 1 time ago, you won.
No, 3 times ago.
No. That's incorrect.
I believe I won 3 or 4. That's what Mike has in the record books.
Guys like us never forget victories, do we?
Whoa, that like you.
Oh yeah, like you've never.
I got 6 rings. I don't,
Okay.
don't say nothing no more.
True or false?
I got 6 rings.
That's a preview of True or False.
I'm going for
Also,
Robert Horry today.
DJ HazMatt has his latest video. He's working on this thing as we speak. He's trying to get this in before
we
the
don't have it
deadline.
yet, so-
No, listen, his editor is smoking right now.
bro.
He'll get it done. He always does. DJ is going to world premiere his video, Brown's victory
Call him
over the
Haz.
Commanders.
Drop the
Has.
DJ.
No DJ.
Yeah, well, that's his title is DJ HazMatt. He calls himself DJ HazMatt. When you're referring to him, you call him Haz.
There we go.
We're working on the lingo.
But
Yeah.
I mean, his handle is DJ HazMatt.
Yeah.
But when,
handle's Hey Haz,
when you're in conversation, when you're in conversation with him, it's Haz. I've had this conversation with him. So
We have to talk about when Haz comes on. Gee, we haven't addressed the barbershop situation yet with him.
my
We gotta
goodness.
talk
Right?
about the barbershop today. Yeah.
Yeah.
also,
Ask him
we're
about
gonna
Baker.
definitely get into the Browns talk. We're gonna talk about Nick Chubb. Is it even worth going for the rushing title? We'll get into that. Before we do that, I want to give a quick update on DeMar Hamlin's situation. Improvement overnight, which is exactly the news we wanted to hear. This is from Josh Reed. He says he just spoke with his uncle. DeMar was originally on 100% oxygen. They've now turned that down to 50%. That means he is processing his own oxygen, which is really a big threshold to cross. He is there. It doesn't mean he's out of the woods. It just means he's showing improvement. And he says the family is certainly hanging in there. And from everything I've heard, read, and the folks I've talked to, the family is just completely overwhelmed with gratitude that the fans, complete strangers, are showing to their family members. So, and we talked yesterday. I don't know. I haven't looked recently. At one point yesterday, I believe his GoFundMe for his toy drive, which had a goal of $2,500, is now at $5 million.
How are they going to handle that? There's no way they have an infrastructure to deal with that.
No, they're going to have to get an infrastructure.
Yeah, right,
they
right.
literally will have to. I'm sure it's
up to 6.2 million. Steve says
that's incredible.
Oh my God!
I mean, it's really mind-boggling.
Yeah. I mean, why can't we do this all the time? When there's homeless people and there's kids who don't have food.
This may sound crazy. I mean, do you really need all them toys? Like, you might need.
Let's spend some of that on food and homes.
There is a need for those.
Right.
But
there's also a need for homes, and let's
sure, but it's his
share
charity.
the wealth a little.
It's his cause.
Robert Kraft donated $18,000.
I heard that. There's
crazy.
players across the league that are writing $5-figure checks.
Yeah, $3. That's crazy.
So right now, what we know is that there is improvement. They've been able to roll him over on his stomach. I believe he is still intubated, but they've reduced his oxygen, and he seems to be okay.
There's a tweet from Ian Rappaport. It says, DeMar Hamlin's family friend and marketing rep, the guy Jordan Rooney.
Yes, who we talked of yesterday.
Speaking with Cameron Wolf on NFL Network, quote, right now things are really in a positive direction. I can't speak specifically to it, but it's moving in a positive direction.
Yeah, I did. The one negative bit of news that I read last night or early this morning, I can't remember, was the fear now is that he may have suffered lung damage, some lung damage.
Yeah.
They don't know. They're going to continue to run tests. We're not going to speculate. Basically, the news that we have for you at 11:12 on Wednesday morning is mostly positive, so that's certainly a good thing. Let's dive into Browns. Final game of the season.
Whenever we talk Browns, though,
yeah,
it's brought to us by our good friends at Tri-C. Browns Talk is sponsored by Cuyahoga Community College. Tri-C supports their students financially, professionally, and personally, and opens the doors of endless possibilities. Tri-C is where the future starts, and guess when it starts? Right now. Classes begin January 17th, 2023.
Have you noticed that McNuggets is nailing Cuyahoga now?
He screwed it up yesterday, though.
Oh, you did?
He did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you dated
Sorry
a
to hear
girl
that.
from Cuyahoga County?
He may currently
He
be
doesn't
dating
date
a girl
girls.
from
Possibly.
Cuyahoga County.
Maybe not. Maybe.
He
I'm not.
goes on dates. I don't know that he dates girls.
Have you done multiples? You've done multiple dates with people, like back to back, like
Second dates.
second
Yeah,
dates.
a couple second dates.
Okay.
But we have a lot to talk to. We're not, we could have a whole date overtime.
Mike gets so uncomfortable
He's
when
uptight
we
about
venture
it.
No,
into
we
his
can do it.
love
We just
life.
we have four
Remember
guests
that one
today.
girl came
We
with
have 4 guests today. We cannot.
By the way, real
hilarious.
quick, there's a woman that I know, a friend of my wife, who's single, and I'm like, I wish I had somebody to hook her up with. And I was like, the only single person I know is Mike, and I'm like,
Bull,
I'm not doing that
Bull,
to her.
we need to see pictures. You can't
Yeah,
just
boy,
put it out there.
I need pictures first.
That's messed up. You don't trust Bull Taste?
No. Wait,
Wow,
you missed the headline here. The headline was he doesn't want to do that to his wife.
you missed the point.
Wow.
I trust Bull's
Now,
taste
you're
in
too young
pizza.
for her.
Wow, not women.
Older
Hey,
women love
so
me.
I don't
nothing
know
wrong
what
with
you're doing.
cougars.
Older women
If
love
Bull
me.
said I
She
got
needs a guy that's ready for a serious relationship, not
she-
you.
yeah,
Yes, McNuggets is
I'm out.
definitely
I'm
not.
That's sad. That's
McNuggets' idea of a serious relationship is the date lasting more than
third
45
date.
minutes.
Wait a
Third
minute.
date.
You never know. You meet the right one. You know, it could change
That's
everything.
true. That's true.
You gotta lock
Like when
it.
the
You gotta
Browns
lock it
drafted Nick
down.
Chubb, they just knew.
Yeah, but they knew even before he put cleats on turf,
Yeah.
they knew that they got their guy.
By the way,
And-
before we get to Nick Chubb, real
Yeah.
quick, one other guy we didn't mention in the rundown, who, we've talked a lot. Some people have made the point that Kevin Stefanski doesn't get the best out of the best players. Well, Amari Cooper, with 90 yards, will have the most yards he's ever had in a season. He already has the most touchdowns he's ever had in a season, but one more touchdown, he will have double digits for the first time in his career.
that's pretty impressive.
Amari Cooper is over 1,100 yards in the season.
And he did the majority of that with Jacoby Brissett.
That's right. And he's had 1,100 yards 3 times. He has 1,109. His career high is 1,189.
Wow.
So I said 90 yards.
81 yards.
He actually-
81 yards.
81 yards, yeah.
Well, good for him.
Oh, was in his bag on that
I'm
one.
in the bag.
There is
I'm all over the bag.
there's no question that even though there have been games where he was sort of absent,
Yeah.
there's no question that this was a positive pickup.
Big
for
time.
Browns.
The
No
good
question.
thing is he doing all of this, and he ain't even 100% yet. 'Cause
No.
he still got
So
that
let's talk
history.
about Nick Chubb. There was a little bit of a debate internally here as to whether or not Nick Chubb could even win the rushing title. He's 160 yards behind Josh Jacobs, and then there was more debate, I think, about what difference does it make. And so we're going to talk about that. He's got 1,448 yards, 12 touchdowns. Been a super season for him. Obviously, he's a Pro Bowler. The question at this point is, they made it a point during the broadcast last week of saying multiple times how important
Which
it
I
was.
thought was
Nick Chubb.
weird.
They picked that up in the production meetings.
Yeah.
They're not pulling that out of thin air.
No, but like
Linemen
he was
said,
so far behind Jacobs that I didn't think it was
he
realistic.
was, but as you look at what's going on, Jacobs was dinged against San Francisco, and
Yes.
he hasn't practiced yet this week.
And his coach
Right,
hates
but
him.
that happened after
I'm
the
about to say
game.
his coach hates
I know,
him.
but
Yeah.
it's unless
The
you're
backup look
350
good.
yards down
Yeah.
with 2 games to go, you got to think.
Right.
You never know.
You never know, yeah.
And the other thing too was that this is what jumped out to me in looking at it. He's about 35 carries behind Josh Jacobs. So
Yeah,
the
at
fact
first
that
I
he's
was
only 160 yards behind him
Right.
is very impressive. I believe it is very important, and I'll tell you why, and then I'll open it up to you guys. Number one, there's 2 reasons guys play the game. At least this is what I've always been told by a lot of the greats that I've talked to. They want rings. Ultimately, and this boils down to about 10%, they believe they have a chance to make the Hall of Fame one day.
Yes.
Right.
When you're a Hall of Famer, you become a corporation. You're your own entity, and you can write checks the rest of your life. How many card shows do you want to do a year? How many appearances do you want to do a year? When you have HOF behind your name, you can do that.
Right.
Nick Chubb is no question on a Hall of Fame arc.
Yes.
The one thing he lacks that he doesn't have, that everybody, when it comes time to vote on this sort of thing, will look at was, how many rushing titles did he win? How many times was he the best player at his position? That's why I think it matters. Obviously, in a team
But I don't
it
know
doesn't.
that-
But
I
that's
don't know
it. Hold on, wait
Yeah.
a minute.
Yeah,
Before
go.
you say that, if you just because you win a rushing title, that what matters is all pros.
Sure, absolutely. There's,
Rushing
how
title
many
doesn't
y'all-
make you the best
Yeah,
player.
I'll tell
all
you why it
pros
does.
is what he needs.
I got to do a lot of arguments with a gentleman on Twitter. Hall of Fame is in his handle.
Really?
Yeah, and I
You-
normally
you
do not
up to-
engage.
Wow.
But I was so emphatic that he was wrong about this.
Oh man, what did he
that
say? What did he say?
I engaged. He actually makes the case against Clay Matthews being a Hall of Famer. And the argument that he uses against me, appropriately by the way, is that he was never the best linebacker in the game. He played for 18 or 19 seasons, but he was never the best at his position. By the way, I also know
But
a
that's
lot of
stupid.
people
There's
that
guys-
currently vote for Hall of Famers, and they say their criteria.
But that's not-
their
Eli
criteria.
Maning's going to the Hall of Fame.
Eli Manning plays a position where we can look at 5 and say, because it's so hard to say who's the best,
Yeah.
we can look at 5 and say, is he among the top 5 that play? Well,
No.
He's going to the
Eli-
Hall of Fame for one very simple reason.
'Cause he beat
He's
Tom-
2-time
but that
Super Bowl
kills that
MVP.
argument.
No,
But
it doesn't,
he's
Bull.
never
It
been
does.
all
It's not,
pro,
they're
though.
not
He was never
mutually
the best.
exclusive. Bull, they're not mutually
He was never.
exclusive.
But you said a guy's got to be the best in his.
I don't
for
know
one
about,
season,
I
I
don't
said
know
that.
about
I
that.
said,
But
what-
Eli Manning was never the best player even for one
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
Eli
never.
Manning is a 2-time Super Bowl MVP.
I know, but he never was the
and
best
the
player.
reason, help me out here, McNuggets.
Yeah.
The reason the Giants have 2 Super Bowl rings is plain and simply
He was
Eli
the
Manning.
best player
No.
in 2 separate postseasons, which
No
is
question.
different than a
Yeah.
season.
Now,
I
that
don't know.
is also
I don't
another
know.
criteria.
And the
There are-
rushing
now,
title doesn't make you the best runner.
it gives you a crown. So here's what they do. They look at crowns. How many Pro Bowls is big?
No.
Pro Bowls should be
no.
meaningless.
All pros.
All pro, I'm sorry, yeah.
Pro Bowls
Pro Bowls
is,
should be
Tyvis,
meaningless.
don't
how
mean
many
all
anything.
pros
All pros does Nick Chubb have right now?
3.
Does he?
0.
I'm about to say he has
doesn't have any
nine.
All
No, wait.
pros.
He's never had a.
He's a
Oh,
4-time
no,
Pro
I'm
Bowler.
Pro
He's
Bowl.
never
Yeah,
been
this
an
was
That's
All-Pro.
what I'm saying.
Pro Bowl.
All pro
Yeah.
is
Now,
what you need.
When you're, and especially the positioning of running back, this is one that's really, really tough for us. Really tough because the average lifespan of a running back is 3.5 seasons. So you definitely have to have longevity. When you look at a guy like Emmitt Smith, guy that did it for a long stretch of time, you're like, oh yeah, he's in. Barry Sanders, another guy, even though he didn't do it nearly as long, he was the best in the game for all that time.
So this is the way I look at it.
Yeah,
So
go
this
ahead.
is the way I look at it. The eye test comes into play. Because the NFL is different because you play different systems, you play different schemes, and you could get hurt. When they put Gale Sayers in after a very short career, it just lets you know, okay, well, there is a way that you can get in the Hall
By
of
the
Fame.
way, Gale is the outlier.
Terrell Davis, TD.
Yeah, but TD played longer than Gale Sayers.
There's a lot of guys that have led the league in rushing were not going to the Hall of Fame.
Here's the opposite. The opposite is if you look at it, Nick Chubb is better than Curtis Martin. It's just hands
That's
down.
not even close.
Well, yeah, but Curtis Martin had the longevity.
But the longevity.
Was he an all-pro?
Curtis Martin didn't
No.
go to. Curtis Martin led the league in rushing one year.
So Frank Gore.
He may have done it more than once.
Frank Gore to me is not a Hall of Famer.
No, I agree.
He's third all-time
I don't
rushing.
care.
So here's the thing. That's the great part about looking at running backs.
Yeah.
Would you guys all
it's
agree
mixed
that Nick Chubb
baskets.
is on a Hall of Fame arc right now?
Yes.
Yes.
No
but
question.
But he needs some all-pros.
So here's the one thing that worries me
But
about
he
Nick
shouldn't
Chubb.
need any of those things.
Yes,
It's stupid.
No, because
It's
you
stupid, but that's the way it is.
It would
I agree
water
with you. It is
No,
stupid.
You should lose your vote if you're picking guys for that reason.
Oh,
There's
see,
this is-
maybe all pro.
it's very
Pro Bowl
interesting.
should be completely meaningless.
They are.
Pro
They
Bowl
are.
should be meaningless.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's,
they are. They don't look at
even
that.
dumber is judging guys based on all-star games in baseball because that's only for half a season.
So,
but
you either have longevity,
Yeah.
either you was just crazy talented like Barry Sanders, you ran for 2,000 yards, did you break a record for touchdowns like LaDainian Tomlinson, did you get 1,000 on the ground and 1,000 in the air like Marshall Faulk? There's different things that you can look at, but you do have to have one. You got to have one thing that you can say, I hang my hat on, and I was the best at this.
And G. Bush, you just mentioned Curtis Martin. Just looking at the numbers, he led the league in rushing in 2004 and 3 All-Pros.
see?
he's not a Hall of Famer.
And that's
is he?
the thing.
I disagree. I think Curtis Martin is a Hall of Famer. And I think
argue-
he checks a lot of the boxes. Longevity.
To me, longevity should only matter if it's great longevity.
I agree
not
with that.
Good
Well,
longevity.
I agree with that.
Yeah, now here's why I'll tell you that matters. At that position, when the college ranks are churning out 22-year-old stallions every year, the fact that at 37 years old,
that's
you
crazy.
can still play at a high level at the position
And they give you
which
the ball.
requires maybe the most athleticism, strength, and dexterity.
And some coaches will get rid of you 2 years too
Oh,
early.
absolutely.
That's
They
just
would
like, I ain't
rather
got
do
time for that.
that
Better
than
a year
hold on to you too long.
Yeah, a year early. than a
Curtis
year
Martin's
late.
career numbers are better than I thought.
Listen, Curtis Martin, I think,
Martin
is
was
third.
third.
He is in the Hall of Fame, Curtis Martin. I don't know why I didn't think he was.
Curtis
And
my
if I'm
favorite
not
part.
mistaken, isn't he top 5 in the all-time rushing list? He might be like third in yards.
I think he.
Give me 1 sec.
I think he's 6th now, 5th or 6th.
Anyways, I talk about the thing about Hall of Fame is that obviously I talk to Sherm about this all the time. We go back and forth on players because obviously he wants to get into the Hall of Fame and I
is a Hall of Famer,
Matter
by
of
the
fact,
way.
I just asked him about this the other day. I just texted him like maybe 3 days ago. I said, when you look back on your career, which one of them bothers you the most that you're upset about? Losing that Super Bowl in Seattle? Or not getting Defensive Player of the Year? And he said Defensive Player of the Year.
And why?
Because
It
when
rubber
you, when,
stamps
when
into
you
the Hall of
yes,
Fame.
when you go to the Hall of Fame, they look at your All-Pros, they look at Player of the Year, they look at all-decade teams, they look at stuff like that. If you don't have
Those things are really dumb, especially for defensive
But
players
it's an
and
individual
offensive
award.
linemen.
That's what I'm saying.
It's an individual award.
Like judging defensive players and offensive linemen is really like if you're judging that based on all pros, not all pros, but Pro Bowls or
It's
like some of these
it's
things
not
are
the
so-
pro. It's
Pro
not the
Bowls
Pro
are
Bowl. Pro Bowls
completely
because
irrelevant.
that's
Oh,
politics.
there's guys who pay attention.
All
Yeah, but
pros
not the
means
Hall of
that
Fame
you were
voters.
the best 1 or 2 person at your position in the NFL, recognized by everybody.
If you're judging by like most interceptions,
I don't care
that's
nothing
not-
because you could get into the Pro Bowl and be the
Bull
4th
makes a point.
alternate.
For some positions, it's difficult to have a metric that
It is.
clearly defines greatness.
Right.
But not at running back. At running back, maybe as much as any other position, quarterback and wide receiver are obviously among them.
But what's
you have a
greatness?
tangible. Well, the measure of greatness is if you ever lead the league in rushing. That is hands down. And it's not even debatable. Like Defensive Player of the Year, that's debatable. What do you value more, an edge rusher or a safety?
Jay,
So,
I don't
but at
think
running back, it's apples versus apples.
I don't think leading the league in rushing 1 year makes you great.
It doesn't, but it's a crown.
I'm about to say it's just a
It's
feather in the
crown.
cap.
It's a feather
Right,
in
but
the
there's a
cap.
lot
Feather
of
in
guys
the
who have
cap.
won the rushing title who are not even
so-
step
Well,
Well, let me ask you
Hall
this.
of Fame. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, and I even hate doing this because I don't like to think about injuries. You're the same way when we were talking about
Yeah.
quarterback this year. If his career were to end today, Nick Chubb is not
Going to the Hall of Fame.
a lock to the Hall
who
of Fame.
He wouldn't.
But
he wouldn't go.
because of the position he plays,
Yeah.
and because of the severity of injuries and the swiftness at which they get old and injured and out of the game, if you're able to, whatever you can assemble in the years that you play, all of that is cachet when it comes time for voters to look at.
It's like chips. It's like, okay.
It is
I
like chips.
understand what
It's
you're
like
saying.
chips.
I would say-
I'm saying what I would do if I were a voter. I'd actually use my brain instead of being slaves to
Numbers.
generally irrelevant
Analytics.
numbers. Here's some guys.
I see what you did right there.
Don't let analytics get in the way.
Here's some guys. Here's some guys that have led the league in rushing. Josh Jacobs this year is probably going to win. He's obviously nowhere close to a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
Kareem Hunt nowhere close to a Hall of Famer. DeMarco Murray nowhere close to a Hall of Famer.
No.
Maurice Jones-Drew.
No.
1 year.
Maurice Jones-Drew, Chris Johnson,
MJD
Arian
should
Foster.
get in.
Bull.
Those guys are not going to the Hall of Fame.
Arian
None of them
Foster
are.
was nice.
Here's the difference. All of those players, when they were playing, we forget. Maurice Jones-Drew
Was that deal.
The dude.
He was that
He
deal.
was that guy.
I never thought he was the best guy in the league. The other guys at
Maurice
time
Jones-Drew
were.
was a dual threat back. If you're a fantasy guy, so you'll remember this.
Chris Johnson was
MJD
crazy.
was Chris Johnson was
Chris
nuts.
Johnson was great for a short period of time. Yeah.
You just
CJ
made my
2K.
point for me.
But not-
the problem with this position is, and this is what I said. Jonathan Taylor was the number one. Everybody wanted him, and I
you
sat
said
in
no.
this chair
You
and I
said
go,
you
"Let
would
me
not."
tell you something about Jonathan Taylor. If you take him number one, thinking he's going to repeat what he did last year,
Austin
you're
Eckler.
making a grave mistake.
I would have took Austin Eckler.
Because it's more difficult to repeat greatness at that position because that is the skill position more than any other that washes itself out every
Well, let me
couple of
let me
years.
say this to talk about the Russian title. Do I think they should go for it? Absolutely, you should go for it. However, with the steel curtain, I don't think it will happen. But I will say the only example that I have is actually when I was in San Fran. George Kittle was about to break the record. I think Travis Kelce had already broke the record. We played after them, and Kittle had a chance.
Was this the record for most yards by a tight end in the season?
And we was.
That's another
This
feather.
we was what 5 or 4, whatever the heck we was.
We were trying to get him the record.
No
Yeah.
way we was going to the playoff. They kept him in the game. LA had already put the backups in. They kept Kittle in the game and kept force
Because
feeding
it
him the
matters.
ball because they wanted him
know
to get
what?
that
It
record.
By the way, let me ask you this, guys. Do you think Ezekiel Elliott's a Hall of Famer?
Yes,
I do.
First ballot.
Now, I don't know about first
By the
ballot.
way,
First ballot.
By the way, if he retired today, no chance he gets in.
First ballot.
No, I think he needs
Go
to
Bucks.
play more. I think he needs to play more. By the way,
How many seasons?
everybody was kicking dirt on Zeke.
Didn't Zeke win the Russian title like 3 of the first 4
run
years?
these
Zeke's
numbers
having a
down.
terrible year.
Zeke's
Run-
no
run-
question.
He's having a
on
terrible
Run
Hall
these
of
year.
Fame
numbers
mark.
down.
He's having a
He
terrible
won the
year.
Russian title
He's
3 of the
averaging-
first 4 years.
No, he won it twice.
Can I get the numbers?
How many times has Ezekiel Elliott had more? More than 1,000. One year he had 1,002 yards, which is okay.
It counts.
How many times has he had more than? How many times has he had more than 1,002 yards in a season?
I'd say three.
Three. That's not enough.
Okay, but here's the thing. At that position,
He came
that's
in
like
like
7 great years for a
lighter
receiver.
fluid, boy.
Because and you mentioned 2 guys that got in because their careers were hacked
Where's he
short
at now?
because of terrible
Yards.
injuries.
Yep.
Guys will look at that. It's the outlier. You know, it doesn't
82,
mean that if you're
50,
great for 3 years and get injured, you're going
But
in.
if Zeke's career continues to go downhill, which it has been the last
It
couple
will.
of years,
He's a running
this,
back.
This season, how many yards he got?
12.
He got 1,200
he's been
this
terrible
year?
this
12
year.
yards.
He's got a lot of
Oh.
touchdowns.
No.
They give him the goal line.
I still see Zeke still has moments. I watched him
He
last
has
week.
866 yards.
Okay.
So he's not even going to get 1,000
So-
yards.
so
It's not outside the realm of possibility, but it's unlikely he'll do it.
One thing that we have not talked about, I always on this show talk about the human nature of things, right?
hate him.
I always talk about the human nature of things. When you look at people and the way they talk about Nick Chubb, please believe the way he plays the game, the way he carries himself, will give him any benefit of the doubt.
1,000%.
When they write his
Do you
own,
think Nick Chubb personally cares about winning the rushing title?
I do.
Yes.
I do. He's human.
does?
He's
If you
human.
this close, yes.
Bull.
Because
What
it's
do you play
never
for?
guaranteed you might get
Bull,
this chance again.
we in TV we don't have that
Yes.
that award for the best personality. I mean, there's Emmys, but everybody knows what that is.
That's like-
what I would say to you, Bull, is if there was an award for best Cleveland radio show talk show host.
I'd want to win it every year.
Of course you
Because
would.
I was
tell
the
you
best
right
goddamn radio talk show host.
And what do you think Nick Chubb thinks?
I'm gonna
He
tell
doesn't
you,
say that.
I'm gonna
but
tell you right now. If I was one interception away from breaking the single season record,
Yeah.
I'm going out there.
You're squatting on every route.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. Don't put me in man. I'm playing zone. I'm playing off, and I'm playing like Marcus Peters. I'm reading the quarterback, and I'm going.
We doing Tyvis like this.
That's fine. I'm going.
I
I'm going.
to your
I'm
point,
going for it.
to your point, Bull, I do think he cares. I do.
Yes, he cares.
But I will
it's
say
human
this.
nature to care.
Of all of the modern day NFL superstars, of which he is one, he may care less than all of the others.
That's the way it feels.
It does feel that
seems
way.
that way.
I
We
mean,
don't know that.
The other guys
he
outwardly.
cares.
Here,
You got
I
three.
bet Myles Garrett.
You
Myles
got
Garrett
three.
talks about wanting to win Defensive
Yeah.
Player
You
of
got
the Year
three
award.
guys on your team
Which
that
he
could,
won't win.
that could go to the Hall of Fame. Chubb, Batonio, and Myles Garrett.
I think they're all three on Hall of Fame arcs, and I think
Denzel-
all three are
Denzel
closer to
Ward.
getting there than not.
No, he's not on
No.
Hall of Fame.
Denzel.
No.
Nah, bro. Way to play better.
You been
but
watching this year, bro?
Did you watch him last game?
I did.
like
By the
that.
way, that's what's so frustrating to me. He
I
can still
know.
be that guy.
Well,
that he wants to be.
that's the whole team.
If Zeke retires today, he's not a Hall of Famer.
No. Yeah, he's not.
No.
He has to bounce back.
No,
and have
I
his
think
work
he's
to
got to do it for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Leroy Hoard, not that you were ever up
Oh,
for a
he's
rushing
a back.
title.
He's a running back.
But you're a running back. So I think
Yeah.
your opinion here is relevant.
Curtis Martin. I don't
Yeah,
know.
these guys want to win rushing titles.
Absolutely.
I take Nick Chubb.
And by the way,
Why-
there's
why
probably,
wouldn't
you? Week.
there's probably a healthy financial piece to this too. If you win a rushing title, if you're
not
an
as much
all-pro.
when you not as much as when you make the money that he makes, right? Like they've already paid him accordingly.
They have, but do you think he has? And I imagine we could find out. Do you think there's a bonus structure in his contract? Because this isn't a rushing title
it
means
could-
you're the best at your position.
There could be some type of bonus, but again, when you get to the status of a Nick Chubb, you don't have a contract with a whole bunch of bonuses. You just straight get paid,
Yeah, that's true.
and that's the whole point of it.
By the way,
Is
Leroy,
that
do you
he's
agree with
he's
Jay?
gotten himself to a place like that? Yeah.
Do you agree with Jay? Because I don't agree. I don't think winning the rushing title means you're the best running back in the league that year necessarily.
It's the metric we use. Bill.
That's not the metric I use. I don't know.
I
You don't
would.
have to.
There is no metric
Yeah.
to compare running backs that play under different systems.
True.
You see what I mean? Because if
How versatile
Nick
is he?
Chubb had gotten the amount of attempts that Derrick Henry had gotten, he'd win the rushing title every year.
No question.
So
Although he's
you can't
ninth
really
in yards
do
per
that,
carry, though.
huh?
Nick Chubb's
Ninth?
ninth in yards per carry. Surprisingly.
Okay, ninth. Well, if he was top 5, would he be leading the league in rushing?
yes.
Yes.
I've already done the math.
Okay.
If he had the carries
Okay.
that Jacobs had,
So
he
that
would be
means
in the
that you
league.
could go to 8 other guys and say this: if Nick Chubb had gotten those amount of carries, he'd easily win the rushing title. You
Well,
understand? And that's
easily, it would be by about 3 yards.
There's guys who have less carries who are averaging more yards. You could say it about those guys, too.
Your metric is yards per carry. The reason
that's
why,
not. It's
I
not.
always said, because you've always said, I look at yards per
I
carry.
look at yards per carry, but there's a few things that go into it, and there's no chance I would look at Josh Jacobs and say he's the best back in the NFL this year.
No, I
I don't
wouldn't
even
either.
think he's top 5. I know he's
I
got
think
the
he's top
yardage,
5.
but
But
I
do
don't
you
think
think
he's
he's
top
top
5.
but part of the reason why it's so different is that they run the ball out of a lot of spread, and they try to run Nick Chubb with tight ends and extra tackles.
Right.
You see what I mean? So the offenses are different. And so I look at Nick Chubb having the success in the yards per carry in this offense when they are the running game is the catalyst for the offense will give a higher grade to me than a team that has a quarterback that tries to throw it 30, 40 times a game.
Yeah, I would echo that.
By the
It-
way,
it
Nick-
means a lot to the linemen, too, doesn't it? I've heard running backs
Yes.
say they
Yes,
want to do this
the-
for their linemen.
Linemen take pride in having a running back behind them who is successful.
Right.
I think when I went to the Pro Bowl, the offensive line was more excited than I was. Right? Simply because I didn't care one way or another because it was just kind of a thing of, oh, they just started doing the fullback thing, and I was listed as a fullback, even though I was the primary ball carrier. So I kind of had a sour taste about it. I took it. I ain't gonna say I didn't go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take it.
And you should too.
Right. Right.
What's your shirt say,
that's
Leroy?
kinda,
What's your shirt say?
Oh man. Feel the sleep.
By the way, guys,
The you thing.
Nick Chubb is already 84th all time in rushing yards. He's already in the top 100 in 4 years.
Because the average length of the career of running backs is 3.5 years.
well, it's
He's
not
fifth
Jay,
among
you have to
active
be
players.
Go ahead.
you have to be careful, Jay, from this standpoint. When you take the average life of a running back and say it's X amount of years, you're including all running backs.
Yeah, well, exactly.
You ain't
But that's-
including the guys who have played and started and
it's the average.
were
though.
able to be
It's not a mean.
contributors.
It's an average. So what?
No,
the reason
but
the
it's
reason
all
I use that as a
players
number,
listed
Leroy,
as a running back, though.
right, but the reason I use that is because I think it demonstrates exactly how hard it is for these guys not only to get a job in the league as a running back, but because these young 21, 22-year-old fresh legs are constantly being churned into the league from the college ranks, and it's long been looked at as the position that you can have an immediate impact at. It makes it that much more difficult to hold on to that job, not just to get that job. And that's why the 3.5-year average, I think, is relevant.
But I think that's the average for all
It
NFL
all-
players.
No, it's not.
Pretty sure
it
is.
all goes
that up.
it all goes to talent,
It does.
right?
Talent always wins.
And so when you say that if we talk about all the running backs in the last 10, 15 years that have made an impact or that we know who they are and weren't just flashes in the pan,
Right.
none of those guys played 3.5 years.
Of course not. That's
right?
why it's
and
an
so,
average.
And so from
The
that,
average for an NFL player is 3.3
here,
years.
for
Look up running back
example,
right
you're
now. It might be shorter.
You're averaging the people in the running back room, and I'm only averaging the contributors.
Well,
that
yeah,
would be
but
different.
of course. But the point is that it is and I think you would agree with this. You played this position. If you're a left tackle and you're drafted into the league and you're a premier left tackle, what's the saying? Don't have to worry about that position for a decade. They ever said
Right.
that about a running back?
Never, and they won't.
Never.
No,
but I
no,
think-
because
I think if we're
what
gonna do-
happens is,
Go ahead, Leroy.
of all the positions on the field, you have to think long and hard when that first contract is up, how long you're going to extend them.
Very true.
Right?
That's a fact.
That doesn't
Yes.
happen with any other. That doesn't happen with any other position. In
Does
fact,
not.
to the point where if you have a good first 2 years, you better go back to the table
Yes.
That's a
and
fact.
hold out
Yeah.
and make a stink and do whatever.
And that's why they
because-
often do.
Yep.
Right. And so from that standpoint, the position is paid differently, it's played differently, and the demands as a player are different.
And you know what,
Because
too, Leroy? We've
everything
seen,
gets constricted,
yes,
right?
Yes.
The time, everything gets constricted. So that 4 or 5 year deal you go into the league with is technically 2 or 3 years.
More
Yeah.
guys should hold
Good
out.
or bad.
More
you're
guys
right.
should hold out.
And,
They should.
And
Right.
Leroy, even to further make your point, Mel Kiper famously a decade or so ago said, why would anybody draft running back in the first round? Why are they doing this? And what was the
Right.
trend in the NFL? They stopped
Right.
getting drafted high in the draft, and first rounders at running back, also that number went down because, to your point, the league has figured out that is a disposable position that has an endless stream of talent coming every year behind them. And that's not the case with left tackles.
See,
It's not even the case with wide receivers.
I don't necessarily agree with that
What part do
from
you
this
disagree with?
standpoint.
Of course you don't.
With the fact that you just think you can just get another one.
It's
Right.
That's how the teams
No,
think.
but
want
that's
you-
been the mentality,
You know how
sadly.
teams think.
You know what?
But
Holmes
it
said?
is, but guess what teams struggle? The teams that have that mentality and then they get into December and January and can't run the football.
Yeah,
not
but look at the Patriots for years.
What do you mean it's not true?
It's not true.
Look at the Patriots and Bill Belichick.
The elite running backs are generally on mediocre or bad teams. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Sadly,
It's
you're
a
right.
passing league.
It is a passing league.
It is. I'm not.
And look at the running backs Bill was winning Super Bowls
I'm not
with. Name
disputing. I'm not
McKinnon.
disputing where. Listen, I'm not disputing where the game has gone. Right? It is a passing league, but I find watching football and getting frustrated as hell when you have a situation that requires you to have a running back either at the end of the game or in the red zone and stuff like that.
And you don't
these
have
teams
one.
can't run the ball.
Yeah, you're absolutely
And
right.
these are the teams that during the course of a year it catches up to you.
It does. Yeah, it's
Right,
not
but who
important
is-
until you really need one.
But who is the last team that won a Super Bowl with a great running back?
Tampa Bay.
Well,
No.
I
They
would
didn't have a
say
great
this.
running back. They had a
Leonard
great
Fournette
defense.
I would say this.
I mean,
They
a good
may
year,
not.
but he's
They
not a
may
great-
not have had a.
They had a great
They
quarterback.
may not have
Leonard
had a
Fournette was
great
good
running.
back.
They may not have had a great running game, but in those pivotal moments in the playoffs, they had to run the football.
Playoff Lenny. They had a guy that could run it.
Thank you.
They had a guy
Everybody's
that
got
could
a
run
guy
it.
that could run it.
Nah,
No,
not like
not
that.
everybody.
Not
That's
like
a man.
that.
That's a
Leonard
man.
Fournette's
See,
an average NFL running back.
And that's where I'm trying to get away from.
They're not all
that comment
interchangeable.
right there.
Well,
Yeah.
but here's
is
the
that
point.
you think that anybody could do it. Let's just go get another guy.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that's not true.
I told you
But
what
Leroy,
Hogan said.
the point is that the few guys that get paid big money at running back none of those guys have won a championship.
Hell, you can even make the argument they haven't had much playoff success.
Very few
Period.
playoff wins among the top
Yeah.
paid running
No,
backs.
I mean, and that's a fact.
I mean,
I don't think
but
anybody.
who's the
Derrick
highest
Henry.
paid?
Derrick Henry would be the best example of success in the playoffs.
But they haven't done
Probably.
anything in the playoffs.
Yeah. No,
What have they done in the playoffs?
Well-
What have they won? Like one playoff game?
Joe Mixon.
They're
Are
not
you
winning
guys
anything
ready
this
the
year.
highest paid running backs
Joe
right now?
Joe
Yeah.
Mixon should be the
Christian
answer.
McCaffrey.
Joe
Derrick
Mixon's
Henry.
probably the best back whose
Year
team's
by year salary. So like this year,
yeah.
Zeke, 18.2
Haven't
million.
won
Go
anything in the
Bucks!
playoffs.
Dalvin Cook, 11.8.
Haven't won anything in the playoffs
Joe Mixon, 11.4.
last year.
success.
Super Bowl.
Derrick Henry, 9.9.
Haven't done anything in the playoffs.
Saquon, 7.2.
Hasn't been in a playoff game till this year.
Alvin Kamara is next.
Nothing in the playoffs.
He got
And then-
he got robbed.
Well, hell, if that's
Nick
our
Chubb.
standard, Deshaun Watson. Then I mean, it doesn't make you a failure. But if you're
So Joe Mixon is the
only going to
correct
use
answer.
as playoff or success at a position as playoff success,
Who said success?
Wait,
in
but
position?
but then
That
but
wasn't the
here
argument.
yeah, that's the argument.
But
you just
here-
made.
No,
But
my
they-
argument is
Boom.
that you don't need a great back to have success in the
Boom.
postseason. That has
Boom.
nothing to do with what you said.
Yeah, it
Boom.
does.
No, it has
I
nothing
would
to do.
say
You said
I
I was
would say
judging them
this.
how good they were based on their success in the playoffs.
No, you're
I
talking
wasn't.
about their lack of success in
Boom.
the playoffs.
Yes.
Let's not
Boom.
get off track
Boom.
because Leroy's
No, you got
Boom.
us off track. But go ahead, Leroy.
Bull, here's the
Yeah.
deal.
Ding ding.
rabbit hole.
Ding ding ding.
I would be inclined to agree with some of what you're saying, if not for Joe Thomas.
I don't know.
Break that
And
down.
you could
Break-
say
Elaborate.
you,
Hold
you
on.
can say
I just dissed you.
you
Bring it
can
back.
you can say that about a lot of positions that have great players
Agreed.
that have played the position. So why all of a sudden are we putting this all on running back? There's been great
Well, I'm
quarterbacks
not.
who
I'm
damn
not. The
wait,
league is.
Dan Marino never won the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
It's a fact.
Okay, like you.
But
like
most of the great quarterbacks have won Super Bowls. Go
the
ahead.
great Aaron Rodgers has won.
Talk about it.
Okay.
So, like, you can
It's
do this
hard.
at a lot of positions. So let me ask you a question. Aaron Rodgers only won one Super Bowl.
right.
Would you pay him $50 million a year?
At this point, no.
Yes.
When he was in his prime, yeah.
Leroy, I think what you're saying is, and I think sometimes.
But Aaron Rodgers gives him a chance every year.
Hold on. I think what Leroy is saying, and I think a lot of professional athletes get upset.
Yeah.
Because we tend to minimize just how difficult it is to win at the highest level.
Well,
you
Right.
could be
Leroy
you could
just
be
did that.
all-time great. You could be the best at your position.
Hell, Barry Sanders.
But if you don't got a coach, if the ball don't bounce the right way, if you get injured, if you don't got a quarterback, there's people who end up not winning championships. And we put so much emphasis on it, and we kind of tear down these people's resumes. But it's hard to win.
Gee, you're right. But I'm not tearing anybody down.
No, think about the teams that were great in the 80s. Let me make my own point. My point is that having a great quarterback is the best indicator for having a chance to win. And there's no debate on that. No, there isn't. But the point I would make, like in the 70s and 80s, the teams that won, the Steelers with Franco Harris. It was a different
game those days.
It was, I know, but and then you even look in the 80s. All of these teams that were dominating 70s and 80s and even look at the I know the Cowboys were well-rounded, but they had an all-time great running back.
They did.
That doesn't
happen anymore.
It doesn't mean you're going to win today. You better have an all-time great quarterback.
Can I ask Leroy a question? Leroy, my man. First of all, sorry about the college thing. We're not even going to go there.
Hey, wait. Let me tell you a story. So the Michigan game started off at 4. And at about 5:30, they had thrown 2 pick sixes, and I'm like, this game is done. You can't win a game throwing 2 pick sixes.
Yeah, it's very
I don't
difficult.
care what level, right? So then I'm sitting in my jacuzzi, chilling, getting ready for the new year.
Get ready to watch Ohio State.
And I'm sipping on watching Ohio State, and I thought the game played out just as I thought. Ohio State got to run them off the field, and they did a good job of it. But I was shocked at how Georgia could keep up, right? That took me for a loop. Then we get to the end of the game. And that kicker went out there. His chest was swole. Say it with your chest. He was out. He walked on that field. And I got up out my jacuzzi. And my son said, what's up? I said, he ain't got no chance. He had no chance because he was way too confident. And I ain't going to say I rooted against him. But I did say, please don't let me have to deal with Tyvis on Wednesday.
Right. I was so ready, Leroy.
Oh, that would have been classic.
Talk about the best end of the year ever.
Bring the rings, the trophy, everything.
And the ball did a quick duck hook, and I was like,
that would have been the greatest end to a year ever. Michigan losing and Ohio State winning.
I had my speeches ready.
This.
What I was
say this. And as soon as he missed that kick, it say 5, 4, 3,
the ball
2.
dropped.
Happy New Year. But I'll say this. Were those the 2 best semifinals that we've seen?
They were good.
Can't get any better.
Both of them got targeting calls that should have been called that changed the outcome.
Don't be that guy.
Hey,
don't be that guy. Come on now.
There you go.
They wasn't targeting?
I don't give a crap.
There
Don't
was
let
no
the
way
referees
they could,
decide the
ain't
game.
no way they could call that, bro.
I'm okay with them not calling both of those.
Yeah.
I am.
So
it was there.
It's a stupid rule
let me
anyway.
ask
One
you
of the players would have had to miss the first half of the national championship game. They weren't so egregious that they had to be called. And in my mind, it's targeting is like the Supreme Court defined pornography. I don't know what the hell it is until I see it.
Yeah.
I know targeting when I see it.
That was it. Marvin Harrison?
No. Listen, I would love to see
bring Robert in. Bring Robert in.
Has Robert on the line yet? Robert, was that targeting on Harrison in the end zone?
Well, it was close, right? Like, it's forcible contact to the head and neck area, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's.
Did it meet your strict definition of it, though?
I'm sorry?
Did it meet your strict definition? To me, I think because it's so punitive, the player would have to sit out the first half of the championship game. To me, it better be a no-brainer. It's like Hall of Fame discussion. If you're waffling on whether or not a player goes in the Hall of Fame, he doesn't.
You can't make that. You can't change that call. Based on the circumstances, it either is or
I know,
isn't,
but they do that for like pass interference at the end of the game. We see that all the time.
Well, I mean, I think people say that, but I don't know how true that actually is.
So it was targeting in your mind. It was targeting then.
I think so.
Go Bucks.
Was the Michigan targeting at the end of the Michigan TCU game?
Yes.
My goodness.
That one looked like targeting to me too, but I think that one was more of, was it crowned because it wasn't head and neck?
Right.
Was it truly crowned? And I don't think that he hit directly with the crown, and they've slightly changed that crown definition to be more above the forehead this year, to actually be the top of the head, where it had been anywhere above the face mask area.
Would you have thrown the flag?
I think I would have thrown the flag.
And both. Wow.
But
great ref. Robert.
But throwing the flag and reviewing it and having the slow-mo and all the different angles, you would think that they would do that too. But Leroy, on the kick, as Leroy said, on that kick, the Ohio State game, I swear to you, the first thing I thought of was golfing with you, and like you would have said like dead left shrimp or one of those.
Dead left shrimp.
No, you know what I did, Robert? Here's what I did. The ball went up, and I went, hook 'em horns.
Oh, man.
That had no shot. That had no shot.
No.
No shot. No shot.
I think he missed it because his big one earlier barely made it. So he was thinking, I got to put a little extra on this one.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. I mean, I'm not a kicker.
He overgave.
Let me ask both of you a question that's going back to the Browns. If the Browns were to switch up their offensive scheme, and they were going to more of a spread look with Deshaun Watson, do you think Nick Chubb would be better? Because I know you was talking about, Leroy, that right now he runs it with tight ends and extra fullbacks. Do you think he would be more effective if they went to the spread? Because it looks like to me that could be potentially where they go.
What happens is it does two things. It makes the defense have to declare what they're going to stop. Okay? So if you go out there and you're spread, they're either going to put 6 in the box or they're not. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's going to be definitive because you got people spread out. And that gives Nick a bunch of room to operate. Okay? Whereas the other way, it's a little easier when you have two tight ends and you try to get in running formations. They can bring guys up and then drop them out because you don't have that many people in the route. Mm-hmm. And they can disguise it a little bit better, whether it's a run defense or you trying to defend the pass with coverage. They can disguise it a little bit better when you have two tight ends or you have a tight formation offensively. But when you spread it out, it has to be more definitive because you're not going to be playing games with them guys running around in the secondary and Deshaun Watson at quarterback.
Well, but here's the thing, though, Leroy. If you don't have people on the outside that can get separation consistently, it doesn't really matter. I don't care what kind of front you're running because you're only going to put the numbers out there that you think are necessary to cover those guys. You don't necessarily have to go 3 over 2 or 3 over 4, 3 over 2 or 4 over 3, anything like that. Because if you don't think that those guys can beat man coverage, go ahead, play man and keep the bodies in the box that you need to handle the run. We sit back and we look at these things and we say, well, Nick Chubb would definitely be so much better if they had gone to this package. Like, these coaches do this for a living, right? I think that a lot of these guys, they know what they need to do. And although it may seem obvious on the outside, they've thought through those possibilities, but it certainly changes things. And looking at Deshaun, he's definitely getting more comfortable after, being away from the game so long. I mean, almost brought the team back in those crazy conditions a couple of weeks ago at home when it was cold and windy. Wasn't really surprised with what I saw against Washington.
I was just sitting there thinking about it. Jay was talking about the situation with running backs and how it's different, and I think the way that teams look at running backs kind of devalue their worth. And then I go back and look at some of the great running backs that got an opportunity to stay with a team for a long period of time and just really stake out a claim. I think that they should have something special in the cap where if you look at running backs, it's a different type of scale. It's a different cap where at least it would give running backs an opportunity to make a certain amount of money and plus add something to the game. Right now, we look at a guy like Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is a guy who we like to have around. They paying him, but look how many running backs just have 2 years and they're just done. So I don't know what the league can do about trying to go about doing a running back position.
They're not going to do anything though.
No, I don't think you can really do anything like that. And you get paid based on your value. And as much as I like running backs, they're generally the smartest players and definitely the best looking players on the team. But seriously, you look around the league and you watch the way that backs are interchangeable. It's not that there are some guys that can't do some special things, but you better have something special because a lot of times backs can be replaced with other backs, and those guys, as long as the line is good, can do pretty much the same thing. The positions that are valued. You got quarterbacks, you got guys that rush the quarterback, and you got guys that catch from the quarterback. Those are the guys that are the most highly valued. I think it's interesting watching what's happened with tight ends, though. Tight ends have become more and more valuable here in the last couple of years as pass catchers as well, and their scale is definitely changing.
By the way, one clarification. It was a bad graphic by you guys. That's a bad job. Nick Chubb is really fifth in yards per carry. The ninth includes quarterbacks, which shouldn't be on that list.
No.
So he's really fifth, and a couple of the guys ahead of him only had 100 carries this year.
I knew he couldn't be ninth because he's fifth or fourth and fifth in carries.
In terms of legitimate guys who have at least 200 carries, Aaron Jones is the best, averaging 5.3 yards per carry. I'll include Pollard, who's just under 200 carries at 5.3. Then Travis Etienne of Jacksonville at 5.2, and then Chubb is next.
Yeah.
He's tied with Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs as well at 5. But Justin Fields has 160 carries.
Go Bucks.
Yeah, but it's a quarterback.
It's a quarterback. It's a different deal. Put him at running back and then see how many yards.
He did take a halfback toss this week.
I saw that. I did.
Nick Chubb,
Tyvis, you heard Tyvis. Obviously, Justin finished at Ohio State, but anybody that touched soil in Columbus, Jamison Williams, Joe Burrows, they're all Buckeyes to me, right? Go Ohio State.
That's a fact.
Come on.
That is a fact.
I don't know if you guys
Buckeyes dropped the ball not playing Joe Burrow.
I don't know if you guys heard us prior to this, but I'd be interested to get your opinion. We were talking about the criteria for Hall of Fame running backs. And we talked about how there's a lot of different ways that you can cut it. You see people like TD, who had 2,000 yards, but his career was cut short. Gale Sayers cut short. You see people with longevity like Curtis Martin. So you get down to the pipeline and saying, okay, well, what do you classify? Is it all pros? Is it longevity? Is
rushing titles?
Rushing titles? Because we got a guy like Frank Gore, who I think is third right now.
All time.
But
yards.
if you look at his play, his body of work and stats say Hall of Fame, but may not pass the eye test. So you two running backs, what do you guys look at as criteria for Hall of Fame?
Frank Gore is a Hall of Famer.
I agree with that.
If you can play that position for that long and be productive for that many years, that is the thing that separates him from a lot of other running backs. And his numbers aren't ridiculous. His numbers aren't, he's had some good years. But to be able to do that for that long, and every year that he played had some production, that's Hall of Fame worthy. You have other guys who have done it other ways. And I think there's no real set criteria. But I will say if you get to 10, 11,000 yards, right?
You're in that
I think that has
now.
a lot. Yeah, that has a lot to do with not only how well you've played, but how long you've played.
But Robert,
and I think we look at running backs when you talk about those. Huh? Go ahead.
I think it's a sliding scale. You know what shocked me? Go look at Troy Aikman's numbers and compare him to other Hall of Fame
Look at Terry Bradshaw's.
Yeah, look at all those guys. They threw 1 million interceptions back in those days.
Terry Bradshaw threw a
million
pick for every touchdown.
And obviously the number of touchdowns changes now because it's a much more pass-heavy game. But
Sure.
It's a sliding scale. It's definitely subjective.
But certainly, Robert, a rushing title is going to go a long way to getting a player into the Hall of Fame.
Frank Gore never won a rushing title.
No, but as they just said, he did it a different way. He did it with longevity.
He did it a different way, and I agree with Leroy. To play that position that long, that many carry. I don't care what your yards per carry, what your average is. Man, playing that long at that position, somebody's still unbelievable.
It's mind-boggling.
Thanks,
guys, we got to run. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Happy New Year to both. And
Happy New Year.
On this day, we're all miserable with Michigan and Ohio State watching TCU and Georgia.
Not me. The Bobcats run 30 to 27 over
Get out of here.
Send it to commercial McNuggets. Get them off here. Get them off the
See you guys.
Bowl State didn't lose in a bowl game. My team didn't lose in a bowl game.
There you go. Get them off here.
My team didn't lose in a bowl game.
Y'all played an irrelevant bowl game.
That's true. By the way, do you think Frank Gore's a Hall of Famer?
Yes,
I do.
Yes.
If you're the top five, in any statistical category like yards, you got to be on there.
To me, it's the same thing in baseball. I don't vote for guys for being compilers.
But 3,000 hits, Poole?
Mr.
But it depends on the rest of his numbers. I mean,
if you get 3,000,
there are certain things that rubber stamp you in.
Well,
and 3,000 hits.
500 home runs.
Listen, I'm giving you my opinion.
Okay,
I'm saying, I'm just
we
saying.
all have
like,
different.
I think to be in the Hall of Fame, it's not about being very good for a long time. It's about being great.
I think. I
never thought of Frank Gore as great. He only had he never was an All-Pro, not once.
Here's the way.
Mark Fidrich was great for a minute.
But you got to be great for a reasonable amount of time.
That's
not good for a long time.
That's my point.
But I feel durability is a trait.
It is, but
I feel you can get credit. You should get credit for
especially at that position.
Yeah. But you know what? To me, if a guy is elite for 4 or 5 years, and then so maybe he wasn't elite long enough, but then he's good the rest of his career. That's something. Frank Gore to me was never really. He had one Hall of Fame caliber season.
Ezekiel elite?
Ezekiel was elite for 3 years.
So he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
No,
by your own definition.
It depends. I said if you're elite for 5 years, that was my example.
Okay.
And then very good after that for a long time. Yes.
So I give people credit. Like Cal Ripken, if Cal Ripken only had 2,500 hits, he's still a Hall of Famer because he played that long.
There's a lot of guys in the Hall that don't have 3,000 hits.
But
there's different ways to make it. Sure, Ozzie Smith. If Ozzie Smith was a center fielder or a right fielder and didn't display the Gold Glove year after year, then is Ozzie Smith the Hall of Fame?
Well, yeah, but again, I'm only telling you. I'm not saying. Listen, I'm just giving you my opinion
and you know
on
what?
whether or not these guys are Hall of Famers.
And you're right because it's your opinion.
Right. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't mean
might
what you
be different
do or
than
what
our
they do.
opinion.
So
sure.
I'll be confused sometimes. I'm like, well, listen, how do you not have? If you go back and watch Ozzie Smith,
y'all gonna let this.
Why did you not? How do you not have Omar Vizquel in there?
This the
well,
thing.
Omar's a different
not
story
as good
now.
as Ozzie Smith.
Everybody.
Omar's damn close.
With the glove.
Omar's damn close.
His glove game is the sickest I've ever seen almost.
I don't believe you should go to the Hall of Fame in baseball just for your glove.
It's too many. There's
a lot of guys. There are guys in there.
Not
because
anymore.
Of their
guys don't get in there anymore.
No, not anymore.
Miles Shaw.
There's a lot of guys.
Too many people getting in the Hall of Fame. They watering it down.
Sneak that in. Miles Straw going in the Hall.
Shut up.
They watering it
got
down.
these memberships real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Do that.
As you guys know, 2 hours is not enough for us, so we have some exclusive content after each show on our overtime segments. That's if you're a coaches tier member. Starters tier, just $2 a month, less than $2 a month. You get all the custom emojis and availability in our community-only post. That's where the conversation goes on after the show ends. Yeah. For you coaches tier, it's less than $5 a month, less than $60 a year. It's a bargain. Start off the new year right. If anyone wants to be more involved in sports, great New Year's resolution present.
Sure. Get
them a full-time membership to UCSS. You get that overtime content, discounted codes, the membership community tab. Plus, it's overtime video. Today's overtime content is pretty cool. Someone put together a list of the best Cleveland athletes to wear each jersey number, 0 through 99.
Listen, that's going to be our content for the next 2 weeks.
We're going to get a couple days out of it.
Because 2 weeks, we'll do the 0 to 9 today. Tomorrow we can do 10 to 19. And then every day for the next 10, we're going to argue and debate, did they get these right? I think they missed on at least two.
In the top line,
the 0 to 9.
But
we're going to debate that today on overtime, and every day for the next 10 unless something bumps that out.
But yeah.
But for every day for at least the 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about all-time greats at each numerical.
And some of those numbers, there's nobody that's great.
No, some of them you really got to stretch.
You got
I
James
went down
Karinchak for a number.
I know. I went into the 50s, and I'm like, oh, shit, this is going to be tough.
When I got to 23, I was appalled.
Oh, wow.
I was appalled.
By the way, hit that like
They
button.
picked Giannis over you.
We need to hit a
Spell like right, G. Turn that around. Spell like right. You forgot it. E.
Hit that lick button.
Hey, wow.
Listen, that costs
We
you a
will
little
come to your
more.
home and lick you.
I was gonna say that. I was
No, we won't.
I was gonna say.
We gotta have a bongo siren. G. Bush is officially the first.
Hey,
bongo
by the
siren
way, the lick button costs you more.
Fact. That is a fact.
The membership for that one is a
It's
lot more than
very,
$2.99.
very high.
$29.99 an hour.
Fact, boy.
And this is why you watch this show.
Oh, Bull. Don't ever change.
Boy made a tactical error, didn't he?
Oh, today's been great. We're laughing. We're feisty.
It's almost as if you did that on purpose, but it's so funny because you didn't.
I did. It was just like, it was totally unscripted. I just spell check went on.
Are we going to do Coach Tyvis now?
We're doing Coach Tyvis, then we're going to play a little true and false. Then DJ has sent us his song. It is in.
Good.
I have not heard it. Anthony said his best yet. Anthony, emphatic. Anthony bought a mixtape from a guy in Chicago off the street, so he knows good music, and he says this is by far.
No.
has his best
They
yet.
forced him at gunpoint
Wait
to
a
buy that
second.
CD.
People still buy mixtapes off the street.
No, it was a long time ago.
not
But
Were you not here for Hedges versus Anthony?
Oh yeah,
no, I don't think he was here
you
for
weren't
that.
here that.
Who was here that
No.
day?
Because I remember thinking, of all people that need to be here for this, it's Bull.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
some
we
Bull
did
mixed
Hedges
versus
or
Yeah, that
Anthony.
I remember you guys doing that, but yeah, I was out that
And one
day.
of them was he bought a mixtape. He once bought a mixtape on the streets of
Yeah, yeah,
Chicago,
yeah.
and it ended up being Anthony. Because I knew
crazy.
Hedges wasn't
They-
doing
they-
that.
Oh my God.
both-
Anthony's the
Coach
guy.
Tyvis.
Anthony is the guy who gets the phone call and they ask for his social security number and he gives it.
Anthony, you've never done that, bro.
Sure.
And you know what? You never want to be that
Hold
guy.
on. Would y'all be quiet? It's the people from the Sisters Borough.
I'm
Go
a
ahead.
Nigerian prince. Can you give me $20,000 and I'll pay you back?
Your cousin is in jail, and if you don't give me $1,000 now, we're going to execute him.
That's right.
All right, here we go.
Oh my God.
So
Anthony says half of that statement was right. I'm not sure what half it was. But. All right, Tyvis, you ready?
So the
Tyvis.
first play we're gonna do is Denzel, and I had to hit him with a little Drake line. Say 21, can you do something for me? With that being said, Denzel, a little Buckeye on
Buckeye crime.
So what we got out of this is the Browns comes out, they run man to man, okay?
Oh, that's a novel thought. Man to man. Tyvis is the first one we see.
We got man
Go
to
ahead.
man, all right, man to man. So we get the outward breaking route. We get this tight end slamming down, coming out. We get a little chip here. He gonna sit down right here. We get the dagger concept from number 2 and number 1. Dagger means he's gonna run an over route or what we call a special route, and this guy's gonna run a dig. But we want to focus. This is where all the focus is at. And I'm gonna go to the next clip. He comes out man to man, gets a nice little press on him off the line. Hold on, I gotta switch clips. Okay, right here. This is where we at. And so Denzel plays it to where he really wanted to.
Can we get rid of that thing on the middle of the screen there?
No, we can't.
All
This is the
22 is impossible to take that off
Gotcha.
of. So unfortunately.
So Denzel played a little bit of the guessing game on here. He gets to the top of the route. He feels that due to the stem, because the stem that he got, he took him inside. Usually you get a dig on the inward release. He felt that he would take him inside, but Terry hit him with the little, swipe over and go underneath. So the play ends. He does a great job of undercutting it. I will say that the pass wasn't that great, but he undercuts it, makes a great play, high points the ball. He comes up with an interception.
Hard to see.
It is hard to see.
But yeah, the pass wasn't great.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz
It
made a
wasn't
lot of
a
those
great pass,
throws.
but we caught the ball, and that's what we like to see.
That's another guy I thought was going to be
So
good. Carson
once
Wentz.
again, so Tyvis.
We have the play if you guys want to see it real quick.
Yeah,
Let's see it.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
see it.
Take tag board full, Anthony play.
So
It was a really
perfect
nice
coverage.
play by Denzel Ward.
I mean-
He went up and played wide receiver. He high pointed the ball, like you said, and it was a terrible throw.
And Tyvis, let me ask you a question. Like,
Man, that was
you know, obviously, we know he plays better in man. We understand that. That's why they drafted him. Dorsey drafted him because of his man skills, not because he drops in cover 3 every 4 or 5 seconds. Like, if you see this as a coordinator, why aren't you doing this a lot more, especially when you got a guy like Emerson who's physical on the other side?
Well, I think it's a nice mixture because so for example, that route combination. Let me go back. So this route combination that they ran. Obviously, they thought that it would be cover 3 because if it's cover 3, then this special route is going to be checked by this backside linebacker right here. So that's the whole reason why they run it. But you don't know that they're in man until after they run it. If you line up exactly the same, that's why I say the Browns run 3 and 1 because if it's 3. Boom, this is what you'll get. This linebacker has to get it. This is actually a wide receiver, so he's just going to take this thing vertical, and he's going to hit him down here.
Can't Washington figure that out if they send a guy in motion?
They could, but this Washington didn't do that in this particular situation. Don't know why.
It's Carson Wentz playing quarterback.
Yeah, these guys is dumb.
Don't know why, but you have to. So you run man as an opposite of this, and they caught him in a position where they thought that they would be in 3. They actually were in man, and they were able to make plays. So switching it is good.
Yeah, but G's point is,
do it.
This guy's an all-pro cover guy.
I get that.
And you're kind of watering down his skill set by throwing him in this zone nonsense.
Well, see, the thing, it's the way you play the zone. Because, like I say, if it's one receiver to your side, because this right here is a running back. So, essentially, even if they were to be in cover 3, he could man this thing up. And they can make what we call a stretch call. This guy could come down and play this man. It could be man on this side. But that's that advanced Seattle talk right
so
there.
What I would do when they run in this route,
and I don't know why it didn't show up. But
why can't they run? If they was gonna run this route in Washington, why wouldn't you run man concepts? The concept that you can run a man concept as well as a zone beater in the route combination. Is it
because they're not as confident in the other defensive backs' cover skills?
I don't think that. I think that you don't want to get caught. You don't want them to know exactly what you in, and you have to throw wrinkles in there. For some odd reason, man is their wrinkle. And then on top of that, when we ran man, typically it was down and distance based. If it's like 3rd and 2 or something like that, yeah. But you don't really want to go out there and play man 60 snaps because now your guys is gas.
Sorry, Tyvis. Does the quality of the quarterback factor into how much you would play zone? In other words,
if he's
smart, good quarterback's going to be able to diagnose.
Well, yeah, because then they would motion them and then they would figure out what they in. Everybody, the whole routes would switch everything.
Right. Whereas Carson Wentz is, nothing. So does that factor in?
It does.
Okay.
If it's Tom Brady, you obviously, if you're going up against a veteran quarterback in this league that's really good, there really is no disguise because offenses know how to figure out what you're in. Obviously, the Patriots was notorious for sending the guy in motion and figuring it out his man or zone.
By the way, I wasn't here Monday. You may have said this, but I think the Browns won that game because Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera made the decision to go away from Taylor Heineke. Not that he's an all-pro, but they're 5-3-1 under him. Carson Wentz. If I'm a Commanders fan watching that garbage, first of all, I couldn't believe they didn't go back to Heineke at halftime. The game was still winnable.
I mean, we'll never know. I don't think
we won't.
Heineke's not very good either.
No, but I watched Heineke. The team just responded to
Carson
it.
When you
got a $200,000 bonus on the line, and whether a guy plays or not, you don't want to pay it. Then
what's amazing?
Oh, so
is that what it was?
If Heineke had a $200,000 bonus and they sat him?
I mean,
if he gets 60% of the snaps.
Which it would have been because he would have had 9 games, and that's more than half.
He gets 60% of the snaps on the season.
That's trash.
That's trash.
Well,
that's trash. I don't care.
Yeah, he is.
He also gets $125,000 if they win. It's a win bonus.
Guys, it's $1 billion operation.
Yeah,
you really
not
make that decision over a few.
I can't imagine that that's why they did it.
I mean,
I think that Carson Wentz in Rivera's mind gave them the best chance to win.
No, I don't think
I think his mind is warped.
Yeah, he's
nuts. Because Carson Wentz, I'm with you. He was playing at an MVP caliber level, and right now, he's definitely not starting.
He has never been the same guy.
No, he has not.
All right, let me get to this last play, and we can be done with this. All right,
By the way, real quick, I think Washington actually, minus quarterback, has a pretty good team.
No, for sure.
They got good skill position players. They got good running backs.
Chase Young back, their
defensive line is phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
Listen, C.J. Stroud could be great for there. Anyways, this last play. So this is actually, we're going to flip it over to the offensive side of the ball. This, to me, well, whenever this thing shows up.
Tyvis, is your iPad on that picture or is it on the offense?
No, it's on offense.
Anthony, go out and refresh that. Disconnect and reconnect. You guys got to fill for a minute while Anthony
So
comes and
so
does
let me
IP
ask
on the
you,
spot.
do the Browns ever play coverage?
Cover 2? Like, you talking about with
Well, do they ever play a zone concept with a man concept on the other side of the formation?
let me think about that. So,
That's
like I said,
difficult to do if you flood a zone.
Well,
Yeah, it is.
but if they don't know if you run a man or zone, then they don't really.
No,
I would say this. At this point, no, I don't think they would do that. I don't think they would.
That could be really
because
risky.
right now what they're doing is they're finding some success in whatever it took them. Whatever. It's an interesting stat out there since like week 7. I think Earl actually retweeted it.
Isn't that misleading, those stats? Because teams are running the ball on the Browns because they're running.
That is true. That's true.
And outside of Joe Burrow, have they faced a good quarterback in the last 6-7 weeks?
They have not.
The Browns
list
should-
of quarterbacks they
Browns
faced
should
this
have
year has
12
been
wins
abysmal.
this
When
year.
you look
am I
back
good?
on this
Is y'all
season,
getting this?
and you look at the list of
Yeah, Tyus, you're
quarterbacks
good.
that they've
They
played,
should have 12 wins.
that is a huge indictment
Yeah.
on the entire season.
We were saying on Monday, I know it doesn't matter.
they
'cause
beat Tom Brady. Go figure.
I know it doesn't matter, Jay, but we were saying on Monday that remember a few weeks ago we were like, it's like a 1% chance.
Yeah, yeah.
If they had beaten the Saints,
They still be in it.
they'd be alive with a reasonable chance. to get to the
With like
playoffs
20% of hurt. Well, literally 20%.
Obviously, it didn't happen, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because the
But
Dolphins
they needed
is-
the Dolphins to lose out. That
And
looks
they
like it's
did.
going to happen.
and
Yeah.
They need the Jets lost the games they needed them to. The Patriots
Yep.
did too.
All right, let me try this again. So
Give them the Jets.
we good? Let me see. Okay, we good. So look, check this out. So this play right here, we're gonna flip it over to the offensive side. Washington is actually in what we call an inverted cover 2. Obviously, regular cover 2, the corners here, he got the flat safety, he's got the half corner. But in this particular situation, they took
they're
the
offset.
corner and made the corner the half player. They're going to take that guy to be the flats. These guys are all hook players. That's the dude. And then you can't see the safety, but he right
What
here.
is the reason you do that? Is it the
If you
talent
think-
of the player,
Yeah,
of the defensive player, or the
to
offensive?
defend against a deep route.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's
basically.
second and 19, by the way.
Yeah,
okay,
you want
so
to
that's
keep,
it, yeah.
keep a roof over the whole thing. So the
Yep.
Browns do the very interesting thing. And as a defender, I'm gonna talk y'all through this as a DB. As a DB, when you see a running back out here at number 1, we count that as a non-athlete. About 90% of the time, he's just gonna run a hook right here.
Do nothing.
Nothing. Don't even worry about him. If you was in cover 3, you would just say you would alert to this hook player or no, this buzzer. Hey, come get this China right here because I'm going deep. So what they do is they want the corner to be all the way out here. This guy's gonna run the fade from the inside. The reason you run the fade on the inside from here is because if you throw the fade, he got a lot of room to the sideline to fade off to. So that's typically why you do it in that situation. This guy ran this little hook stop right here, little chip, little sit down, and then you got the dig behind it, play to get him to bite the cheese. He bites the cheese, hit the dig behind him. So that's the concept that you get. Let me go to the next clip on this. Switching clips. All right, we here. So as you see, was we up? All right, as you see, corner is all the way out of there. The guy that took the China call right there. So now he has to hit this hole right here. That literally is the window in cover 2. You have to hit the hole.
The honey hole.
Yeah, you got to hit the hole if the corner does not sink. Deshaun Watson, me and McNuggets believe that this was the best throw he's made in this game because he throws an absolute peel over
We got
here
the video
to
next.
get it in there, and he get this completion. Put it right on the outside shoulder so the DB don't got a chance to play the ball. It was just his best throw of the day. But we're going to let you see the video.
And he on the opposite hash, low key.
He is
Yeah.
on actually, that's a long throw.
And outside the numbers, that's a tough throw to make.
He threw him a peel.
It was one of them G. Bush neck pills.
Outside shoulder.
That's a dart, an absolute howitzer.
That is. And there's not many quarterbacks in the league with that kind of arm strength because it
Throw
got
on-
there.
And
in
to
a
throw it
hurry.
on the outside shoulder like that, so the DB has absolutely no chance of making the play.
That
That's
came
a,
out
that's a
smoke.
great ball.
That
by
had
him.
a calm trail.
I mean, that second half really
Well,
showed you what his potential is.
The upside is so exciting.
When you running that, man, could I get a check to 4 verts on that?
If you get it, you can get a check to 4 verts on that. That would be nice.
It'd be nice.
See, the best way to scheme cover 2 is you actually do to what Ryan Day did. He took Xavier Johnson, a receiver, put him in the backfield. They did it with JSN last year. Put him at running back. send him directly down the middle of the field because your two safeties are playing
Georgia
this.
did that.
Now you got the middle wide open.
Georgia did that for the touchdown.
On a linebacker, boom, touchdown down the middle.
Let's trade for Brandon Cooks this offseason and let's get it going.
Hey, Brandon Cooks his goal now is to play for all 32 teams.
Yeah.
Well,
he's been traded so many times.
He's still younger than you think. He's 28.
Listen, I can't understand why he's been passed around so much. I love his skill
He's
set.
just one of them dudes. He didn't just get traded.
He's got the speed. He's got the speed that they need. He's got the chemistry with Watson, and he's one of the few good receivers that's on a bad team that would be like
love to
Will.
have Brandon Cooks here.
Cheaper.
But Will Fuller didn't play the whole year, and he never stays healthy.
He should be good and healthy.
Neither did Deshaun, so they should be perfect for each other.
Yeah, he was big difference.
All right, are we doing true or false?
It is time for our favorite weekly
Can
segment, True and False.
Before we do that, I don't know why this just popped up on my phone, I showed it to G. Bush, and G. Bush looked at me and he goes, "Yo, is that real?" I swear to you. I mean, you never know what you see on the internet if it's real. There's a picture of a couple. I can't find it now. There's a picture of a couple, and it said, "Husband and wife find out they're brother and sister after 10 years."
Oh my God!
What? That's not. That's not good.
Hey, but look though. Ain't no going back though.
Kids have 3 heads.
What do you mean it ain't no going back?
The internet never lets me down.
Ain't no going back from that. Nah. Listen, hey, we just gonna have to go back to. We're gonna have to go back to 15th century king of England.
I hope they ain't got kids.
Bloodline is gonna be pure.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
All
right,
we got to get to True and False because we got DJ Haz coming up in a little bit. And as always with True and False, it is one of our new favorite players, someone who we talked about Monday as we want back on the team next year. This is True and False about Reggie Ragland. Browns new linebacker picked up off the streets from the Raiders practice squad.
He's 262, by the way.
He is a
He's
big
a
I thought he was 250.
Yeah, there's no reason not to.
He gained weight over the week.
No, he's definitely coming.
Are we ready?
If he don't come back,
Let's go, Mikey.
All right, hey, G. Bush, we posted your rant from yesterday. Rex Chapman just retweeted it, so that's going to be our biggest tweet of all time now. So
nice.
Oh, yeah, Rex has got a zillion followers.
Rex has 1.2 million followers, so that's going to blow up.
I need y'all to translate that into something. Go talk to them people.
Yes, okay. Question number 1 about Reggie Ragland. He's a national champion, a Super Bowl champion, but never won a state title in high school. True or false?
One of those weird questions where like 2 of those things are right and 1 is not.
He be doing that lately. I don't like
doing that
do
nonsense.
that. Let's go with that. Let's go with the.
What you got, Ty?
I'm starting it off right. What about you?
I got this one right. I already got it.
Oh, you know?
I know it.
For facts.
G. Bush says false.
100%.
Jay says true. So if it's false, G. Bush in the lead. Unfortunately for G. Bush, he may be going viral, but he is in last place after 1 question on UCSS trivia. That is true. Won a national championship at Alabama, a Super Bowl with Kansas City. Never won a high school state title.
How you not win no state championship? Oh, ex-Tyvis.
Wow! Shots fired.
Oh my gosh!
That was light.
Excuse me, I got the bigger one.
Yeah, he won a national championship.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, that was devastating. Oh my God, Tyvis.
I saved it for college. I'm sorry.
Look at you zooming in.
Question number 2. Question number 2. Let's take it, Steve. Reggie Ragland ran a 4.6 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine.
Nah.
Probably.
Also, this tweet is blowing up since I've said that. G. Bush, this is going to be stupid viral in about 20 minutes.
Rex is great on Twitter.
It was a great rant.
Blocker charge. So
He was the OG on that.
Yeah, he was.
G. Bush says false. Bull says true. False across the board.
Hey, bro, listen.
This is either for Bull in first place.
Come on now.
Let's see it. It is false. He ran
Yes,
a 4.8.
sir.
I'm about to say he
ran
was
a
way
4.8.
slower than
That's
that.
a terrible question, Mike.
That's why he dropped too.
That's why he didn't go first round.
That was one of
That
those
guy
things where you only ask it if it's true.
But it
Because
wasn't.
it seems obvious it's not true, so it should have been true. Otherwise, you should ask something else.
He's playing psychology.
Yes,
with
I was
you.
trying. And
Don't
it
try to
didn't work.
jump in McNugget's head. It's a dangerous place to live.
It is
I'll
a
agree with
very
you there.
dangerous place to live, I will tell you. That's why I don't sleep. Question number 3. Reggie Ragland was originally drafted by the Buffalo Bills. Is that true or false?
Boom, boom, boom.
I know he played for the Bills, but I don't think he started off there.
Boom, boom,
Boom, boom, boom, boom.
Do you actually know this answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
True, and true. 4 truths
I hate
and
y'all.
4 correct answers.
No blood, no
But
foul.
Hey,
drafted.
You notice how they only got one picture of my man? He's still breaking down in every picture. When they bring us back up, take tag board. He's breaking down again. Same pose.
So after 3 questions, Tyvis has 3, Jay has 3, G and Bull each have 2.
That's wrong. You screwed that up.
No, that's right.
No, I didn't.
I thought Jay had 3.
I do.
Yes,
Yeah,
I-
he said Ty and I have 3.
Yes.
Oh, G has 2 with me. Okay.
has 2.
Yeah, all right.
Question number 4. Ragland was the #1 rated inside linebacker in the country in his recruiting class.
See, this is funny.
This is one of the. He was number 2.
Hey, inside linebacker.
Yeah, inside linebacker.
I mean, how many of them are there?
I don't. You know this answer, Jay? Because
There
I
could
don't.
be a lot.
I don't.
Okay.
G. Bush says true. True. Jay says false.
We could have a
Tyvis
4-way
says false.
tie.
4-way tie if G
And
and I
guess
are right.
what? After 4 questions, we are all tied.
Oh!
3 apiece.
Let's go.
4-way
No, Jay.
tie. First ever.
Yeah, I know. It's a 4-way
Oh, it's a
tie.
4-way tie,
I'm
yeah, 4-way
celebrating.
tie.
I love that.
Hey, listen.
I want it to be a 4-way tie
this
going into the last
this
question.
I have a
might
great
be my-
tiebreaker.
This
Okay.
might be my day. This might be just G. Bush's day.
I have a
coming back.
great non-true
first
and
one I
false
didn't
tiebreaker
know.
if we get there.
All right, good.
Question number 5. Ragland tore his ACL during the first game of his rookie season and never suited up for the Bills again.
Boom, 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 boom.
Hold on.
I'm
wait.
deep in Tyvis's head.
Yeah, you are. You
deep
are.
in Tyvis's head. on
Hey,
this.
you can't say deep like that, bro.
It never.
I am far inside. You had a lick button. I don't want to hear any bonk alerts from Mr. Lick over there. Get this man a Tootsie Pop.
Tyvis changed. He had true, and then he went to false.
Yeah, he did.
Bull has true. Tyvis has false. G has false. Jay has true. So we are split 2-2. This whole thing is
Yes.
He tore his
That's a good
MCL during preseason, and he played for the Bills again. This is the liest of lies I've ever put on a
Yeah,
show.
like, bro, there was so many degrees.
So
I
many
was looking
layers
at.
of
I mean, I was
false
looking
to
at the picture like Zeke versus Reggie. That's got to be some actual.
So
game
through 5
action,
questions
right?
now,
I'm
it
the
is
first.
4 for G and Tyvis, the brothers in the middle. Like I said, doing well.
Come on. Bull.
And Jay and
We
Bull on the
cannot-
outside.
We cannot let him be right on
I
that.
know. That's a good point.
Question number 6. Ragland recorded 4 tackles and a tackle for loss in the Chiefs' Super Bowl win over the 49ers.
Boom, boom,
Man,
boom,
nah,
boom.
man. Bro, I feel like he was on special teams. Out of here.
Actually, Ready? I feel like he was balling that game.
False.
False, 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 false.
Everybody the
I
same.
feel like he was
see
balling.
it.
I think he's true, actually.
Yeah.
There
Let
He
me
had
go.
3 tackles and a tackle for loss.
Okay. But he,
That
I was
is
about to
really-
say, I remember his
that is-
name being called.
The
Look,
last
you
2
see
are,
how
Mikey
he
is
get-
one shady
Look,
character.
he's shady
It really
as hell,
is
bro.
shady.
the last
Shady.
2 are
It's-
interesting
it's
here.
so
the last
dirty.
2 are very interesting. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Question number 7. Ragland owns a French bulldog named Chewbacca, which he often posts about on Instagram. Is that true or false?
Oh my God. That
I
is
am-
so crazy.
He gonna be like, it ain't Chewbacca, it's R2D2.
Right. That would be a typical Mike answer. You're right, G.
Or, no, he often posts about him on Twitter.
Actually, he still has Snapchat.
MySpace.
True.
True.
4
Oh,
trues.
damn.
Oh, I got you guys. I'm
Damn
so
it.
deep in it's
I
false.
should have
don't
said
know if he has a
false.
bulldog. I don't know if his name's Chewbacca. I do know he posts a
Why
lot
would
on
you?
Twitter.
Why would you do that?
Damn it.
Why would
That
you
is,
do
it
that?
ain't even remotely close. It's completely falsified.
Yeah, you've gone over the edge.
He's like,
You've gone over the
He's
edge.
like, I don't even know if he
I
likes
mean,
animals.
there has to be a reasonability that you can get it right.
He said you gone.
He does have a dog. I just couldn't
I
find
mean,
his name.
what's next? He names his farts?
And
the
it-
truth? The tiebreaker is going to turn y'all for
that was
a twist.
Gertrude right
All right,
there.
so going into the last question, the brothers in the middle each have 5. Jay and Bull have 4 each. So
Oh,
we
it
can
ain't
end
a tie no more. Huh?
We can end with a tie here. Let's take it, Steve. According to Pro Football Reference, Reggie Ragland's nickname is General Ragland.
That's so garbage. That's a terrible nickname if it's true.
Well, General Rags would have been a lot worse, so they went with General Ragland.
Like,
Lick.
False.
Come on, false.
If it's false, Bull goes into a 3-way tie with the brothers in the middle. If they are wrong,
Jay is
Tyvis and G
crazy.
go to a tiebreaker. Steve, let's end the debate. It is
You suck, Mike. You suck.
I suck.
That's
but
garbage.
That means we're going to a tiebreaker. I'm going to show Anthony the
And the
answer
brothers in
here.
the middle.
He was right.
and the brothers.
Okay, this is for you. Tyvis
McNuggets
and G.
told us on our phone call this morning that
This is not a true or
he was
false
going to go with
question.
the brothers in the middle.
This is a real question. I need a real answer.
All right.
What is Reggie Ragland's Twitter avatar a picture of?
How do we?
How else would they know?
know?
There's gonna be 1,000 different answers.
Closest answer wins.
How would you determine closest?
Do you want 4 answers? Four multiple choice?
Hold on, I'm looking at it right now.
I'm about to say, like,
His Twitter handle is straight up Reggie Ragland.
There is a 0% chance.
That is the worst question.
Okay, yeah.
This is the worst tiebreaker we've
This is-
ever had.
Yeah, you guys should know. Hold on, don't show him the picture.
It's too late now.
Yes, Tyvis 100% knows who that is.
A little chubby white
But
kid.
he's not gonna guess
It's
it.
not a chubby white kid.
No, he will. When he sees it, he'll know what it is. But
All right, well, we got Haz in a sec, so his mom's wrong. Tyvis, what's your guess? We'll go to another tiebreaker.
we got a real
Wait a
tiebreaker.
did you really
Wait a
think
minute.
that one of them was
Yes.
gonna know that?
They know who it is.
They know who it is, but they're not gonna know that that was his Twitter avatar.
It's a chubby white kid. That's pretty close.
Well, he heard you say a chubby
I
white
spoke.
kid.
I
Hold
said
on, show
chubby
him the
white
picture.
kid.
Show him the picture.
This was so stupid.
No, show it to those two.
I don't know who.
I don't know who that is.
Tyvis, you don't know Hasbullah?
No, who is Hasbullah?
He was. It's a meme, right? It's
Who's
from
a
meme?
Hasbullah?
I know who Ferris
Wasn't that a
Bueller is.
character
real
from
person.
Porky's?
Bro.
No.
Hey,
Show
we
it to
gotta
the
get
camera.
to Chubby.
YouTube check. Quick YouTube
Give me
check. Do you guys
another
know who
one.
this is before we bring in DJ
Give me
Haz?
a-
DJ
McNuggets.
Haz, do you know who that is? Can we open up DJ Haz? DJ Haz definitely knows who he is. And by DJ Haz, I just mean Haz.
Do I know who that is?
Yes.
McNuggets, this is your most colossal fail ever.
Hey,
Okay?
Haz.
I am so disappointed you guys
No,
don't
no,
know
no,
who
no,
that
no,
is.
hold on. Haz, we as black men, we don't make our business knowing small white children. Like we don't.
That's not a kid. That's a grown ass man.
No.
Yeah,
He's
he's
not
a
really
grown-up.
grown.
All right.
Who is it? Andy Milonakis?
It's Hasbullah.
I'll never.
Steve Becker knows who he
Here,
is.
I'm going to give the tiebreaker question,
some
Mike. You
kinda
guys okay with me
TikTok
giving
stuff?
I got a good
Go
one.
ahead.
Oh, wait a minute.
All right. How many career tackles, solo tackles for Reggie Ragland? Whoever's closest wins. Career solo tackles
Yeah,
through
no-
last week.
Bull, I think you might be better at true or false than McNuggets. at coming
Career
up with
solo
questions.
tackles for
All
Reggie
right, here we
Ragland.
go.
Tyvis wins. The actual number was 175.
400.
Tyvis got 98.
175.
Put 38.
Tyvis wins the tiebreaker.
I was guessing that.
Well, you know.
Tyvis is the champ. It was a
Robert Horry, you know.
asterisk tiebreaker, but we got Haz with us now.
Seven rings.
Haz, we've been waiting
You know,
for
Robert
Hey.
Horry had to come in and hit the big shot. Big shot Bob is here.
These guys.
7-time champ. It's okay, Jay.
What's up, Haz? How you doing, man?
How was the process
I'm
this
good.
week?
What's up, Jay?
Everything's great. Yeah, to Bull's point, how was the process this week? Did they give you a lot of material? Did this one just flow out of your pen, or what?
I'm gonna tell y'all what. It hasn't been 24 hours since I made that song. Like literally wrote it last night.
Wow.
I literally didn't come up with the track or the concept until yesterday evening. I stayed up all night. I ain't been asleep. I drank a 5-hour energy drink.
Oh my God!
You know why? You was coming up with some nice things to say about Deshaun Watson.
That's right.
He's like, hold on, what the hell am I gonna say?
Listen, the streets is calling. They need this track.
So
Feed the streets, Haz.
Hey, I fully support Deshaun Watson. I don't know why y'all think I don't.
What Baker do last week, Haz?
Oh, it was a rough week for Baker.
They lost.
Yeah, they did.
They took that L.
Hey, Haz, let me ask you a question. I imagine that these videos would be kind of like your kids. Like, you love them all, but it's hard to pick, like, your favorite or the best one. If you would, sort of characterize this one, your thoughts on it, how it fits into the pantheon of all the videos you've created.
You know, this video, because specifically where we are in the season, that our season is over, and now Deshaun Watson is finally starting to look like we want him to look. It's just like, it's bittersweet. It's a bittersweet
what could have been
to this video. Huh?
What could have been if we had him for the whole season?
Right.
Yeah.
If we had one more win.
Yeah, the Jet. If we don't implode against the Jets. Okay, so bittersweet. What might have been? It's the world premiere of DJ HazMatt's Browns Commanders video, exclusively right here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Roll it.
Let's get it.
Hey.
We on a spoiler tour with D. Watson, my man. Went down to Washington and beat up on the Commanders.
Cleveland, CLE, we defeated DC.
We on a spoiler tour with D. Watson, my man. Went down to DC and ruined all their playoff plans.
Hey, DC, you been eliminated like me.
Yeah, here we go, Brownies. Here we hold up. Before I start, prayers up for DeMar Hamlin, his teammates, his loved ones, his family. I can't imagine how they dealing with this tragedy. I'm just praying emotional healing comes to you rapidly. Cause it was weighing on me with gravity so heavy. Didn't know if I had this recapping me. But I came back and made a promise to the fans to finish off the season, so your wish is my command. The offense started the game a little sloppy, but when Chubb ran the ball, nobody could stop him except an analytic pitch count guideline that says when you're close to scoring, put him on the sideline. Go shotgun in the red zone, take a couple sacks, have York kick a field goal, give the points back, go forward on fourth with a draw to the quarterback, then get stopped for no score. Now what was the point of that? Please answer me, Stefanski, I'm confused in fact. Why you do that, do that. Watson showed escapability, then threw it to Jack. Don't do that, don't do that. At the time, it was second quarter 3-0. Bad play calling was definitely the discussion. It's so Cleveland. Trust and believe me, I laughed. They drove 96 yards and took the lead before half. We on a spoiler tour with D. Watson, my man. Went down to Washington and beat up on the Commanders.
Cleveland, CLE, we defeated DC.
We on a spoiler tour with D. Watson, my man. Went down to DC and ruined all their playoff plans.
Hey, DC, you been eliminated like me.
Yeah, here we go, Brownies, here we go. Second half, we came out like, hey, Washington, can we trouble you for that logo on your helmet? Yeah, we taking that W. Watch they playoff hopes start to fade on them, sorry. How about a 46-yard touchdown from Amari? Though it was a short pass and Cooper did the rest, looks like Watson's getting back to doing what he do best. Led a 64-yard drive to the end zone, threw a touchdown to Donovan, the People's Jones. Miles chasing Taven got home hard. Represent Ron Rivera, you should have never started. Carson Wentz threw 1 pick to Denzel, 2 picks to Delpit. He's just a turnover machine, he can't help it. And if you keep it count, that's 3 interceptions. We stormed the Capitol, got the dub, no insurrection. No playoffs for you either, Washington, what you expected? Cleveland commanded you to go in another direction. And honestly, what really didn't sit with me here was fans' willingness to just throw away this year. Now that's silliness to me, because with one more win, we could be spoiling the Squealers with a chance to get in. Watson threw 2 to Amari, 1 to DPJ. That's how he needs to play as much as he gets paid. 24-10, we got the win, let's celebrate. I'm excited but disappointed, it's too little too late. We on a spoiler tour with D. Watson, my man. Went down to Washington and beat up on the Commanders.
Cleveland, CLE, we defeated DC.
We on a spoiler tour with D. Watson, my man. Went down to DC and ruined all their playoff plans.
Hey, DC, you been eliminated like me.
Yeah, here we go, Brownies, here we go.
No. See that? No, listen, that's his best work. That's
so talented.
That's your best
so
work.
Good.
So talented.
That's your best because first of all, you got a classic hip hop beat, a classic. Then you had a double hook which is crazy. And you gave him 3 verses almost. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I see why it took you up until a couple minutes ago to finish it. That's it, though.
No, that was so good. I love the shout out for DeMar Hamlin.
Yep.
I thought that was really, really tastefully done. And as always, if you want to just spend 3 minutes recapping a football game, you can read a lengthy article that rehashes everything you already saw anew, or you can be entertained and just listen to his video.
And what we're going to do is, Haz, you need to put these all on a compilation CD. This need to be a mixtape 2022. And so when you go back, as the Browns go along, people can listen to these and be like, dog, I forgot all about that.
Forget the NFL Films movie at the end of the year.
You got a rap song to everything that happened in 2022. That's dope. I buy it.
So good.
Yeah. Or and 2020 and 2018 and 2019.
Oh yeah, we need all them. Put them on the DVD. I'll buy them.
I did
go to my YouTube channel. They all there.
Plug it all,
baby.
TV. Yeah, plug it all.
TV.
I did catch the little D. Watson dig about the you better play like that for as much as you did pay.
You know he gonna get his.
Hey man,
he ain't gonna get it in. I respect it because you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
He's not wrong.
I'm just saying. I mean, I keep hearing 700 days. I mean, he's been playing a month now.
Oh yeah, that's done. That's done.
Back on the field, so I need the people to stop telling me about 700 days.
And the 3 touchdowns are nice.
Brock Purdy is playing good ball, so Deshaun should be too.
And the 3 tuds, they're nice, but I need more than 168 yards passing.
I agree.
So it's a
step.
step.
I'm glad he's looking better. I just wish we were going into the playoffs as he's looking better.
Yeah, because wouldn't that be fun?
Just imagine if he started to, shake all his rust off and we earned a playoff spot and now he's playing more like himself. I felt like we had a good puncher's chance if we would have got in there.
You're right.
I don't know why people were so anxious to be like, oh, he's going to be great next season. I'm like,
yeah, I was with you on that. I was with you, and I was going to ask you, dig a little deeper on that bar, because I felt like a lot of people had a gentleman's punt on this year. Like, it was just like, well, if we win 6 games, we'll be okay. I think it'll go 7. And I don't like when people say, well, I thought that my expectations are not your expectations. Well, what did you all think? All we needed is a couple more here or there, and you could have been in the same slot as some of these other teams because it was up for grabs.
One more game, man.
Hell, San Fran lost Jenny.
Win.
They threw Purdy in there, and here they are.
He's pretty good, isn't he?
He's damn good. I like what you
y'all, Jared Goff might get in the playoffs. I mean, come on.
Goff is balling out.
Goff trying to stay. That's why.
I think he said. I hope I get this right. 10 or 11 straight starts without a pick.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Is that true?
I heard it on one of the highlight shows. I think it is.
But you know that a lot of people use the Los Angeles Rams Detroit trade situation as justification for what we did here.
Right. Yeah, they did.
And I caution everyone. It's like, okay, they got a Super Bowl, but look at them now. I don't want to win a Super Bowl and then be what the Rams are this year. The very next season.
Wouldn't you take that?
I take the Super Bowl for sure.
You know what?
I mean, we all would love the Super Bowl experience.
I think,
but I would hate to. Go ahead.
Haz, what I would say to you is, first of all, mention the name of your YouTube channel because we were talking when you said it.
It's Haz TV. HEYHAZ TV. So
what I would say,
just Google DJ HazMatt with 2 T's, you'll find everything.
What I would say is for Browns fans, and you never know how it's going to turn out. Obviously, if you win a Super Bowl, even if you suck. And by the way, the Rams could easily bounce back next year. It wouldn't surprise me if Stafford's healthy.
Like the Browns, though, they don't have draft picks to do it with at the top of the draft.
True, but
if Baker's healthy.
There's 2 big differences.
You hilarious.
Two big differences. Number one, the Rams team overall significantly older, including Stafford, than the Browns and Deshaun Watson. Number 2, the Rams have been trading multiple picks for years beyond just this trade. The Browns haven't been doing that. It's not like the Browns have no draft picks forever. They still have 8 draft picks this year. I get it. They don't have a number 1 this year, or I think is it next year too?
It's the next 3.
Next 3 years.
No. They already
3
did
number
one.
ones.
They already did one.
Oh yeah, they did do one.
Yeah, they
did
one
last year.
Oh yeah,
last year, this year, and next. But it's not like they're, the Rams have been trading a ton of. The Rams, I don't even think have a second or third round pick either.
Well,
it's a big difference.
It is an interesting point, though, DJ, and I wonder how many people would answer that. Like, yeah, I'll sell my soul and suck for, 10 years, but give me that one Super Bowl.
But we don't know. First of all, I don't buy they're going to suck for 10 years with that coach. But
he ain't going to be there.
Let me ask you.
He riding out with them.
It's not like the Lions are in great shape.
Let me ask you the question I asked them. Would you rather go to the playoffs this year as constituted with Deshaun Watson, or would you rather not make the playoffs and have your first round pick back for this year?
That's crazy.
Nah, I'd rather go to the playoffs.
Of course.
Yeah, that's the
Deshaun
easy
Watson.
one.
Of course.
Yeah, give me the playoffs.
We stand a chance against every team that's going in the playoffs if Deshaun Watson's going to play well. I never doubt Deshaun Watson's talent. I only argue against the culture of running quarterbacks out of town and the ongoing cycle of fire the coach or get rid of the quarterback. That is really my main argument. It's not really about this player or that player. It just so happens that the particular players that it was going on with at the time happened to be Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson. Of course, if it's really a choice, I'm gonna stand there and be like, who you gonna choose, Baker Mayfield or Deshaun Watson? I'm choosing Deshaun Watson. But that wasn't necessarily our choice. We had to move Earth to get Deshaun Watson to come here. So I'm just saying, and I'm not mad that that's the talent that we have at quarterback. I just felt like, well, he's here. Why can't we go into the playoffs with it? I mean, there's 8-8 would have you with a chance.
Yeah.
And we're one game behind that.
There you go.
So that's disappointing.
That's why that Jets game, at the time, we said it. We sat here and said,
so-
that's the game you're going to circle in January and say,
It's 3 games.
it cost us
You
a
can
trip
circle
to
the
the playoffs.
Jets, you can circle the Chargers, and you can circle the Saints.
Man, I circled
Even
the
the
Falcons.
Falcons.
Other teams
Falcons.
can do that as well. What are
Yeah,
you gonna
it
do?
is, but no team in the league
Not the Jets.
has a Jets
Not like the Jets.
debacle that we
I mean,
do.
the Raiders blew 4 17-point leads.
It's not a 14-point
Well-
lead with less than 2 minutes.
Well, the Ravens blew it to the Dolphins, didn't they? Or something like similar.
Yeah, they were up
It was the
35-14
same day,
in the
I
fourth
think.
quarter.
Thanks, Haz. We'll talk to you next.
Haz, you're the best.
Final one. We'll see
Check
you later.
him out on YouTube. Just Google DJ HazMatt 2 T's.
With 2 T's.
And as he says, everything will come up.
Everything. Everything?
Whoa. Hello.
You're the man, Haz.
Thanks, Haz.
You're the man.
Yeah.
That's
See y'all
all right.
next week.
That is
See you
one
one
talented
more time.
guy, man. That is one talented guy.
got
Because
Jenn Matthews
he makes that look
We
easy.
do. We go
Yeah,
from
it-
a radio host to a game show host. What's up, Jen?
wow, game show host.
We got to go
How's it
rapid
going,
fire.
guys?
There she is.
Hello. How about our Browns? We're undefeated in this 2023. 1-0.
Wow, that's one
right.
way of looking at
That
it.
is a great way to look at
one way to
it.
look at
Donovan
it.
Mitchell's also averaging 71 points per game this year. Never forget.
Exactly. Never forget. I try to be the positive voice when we're going into doom and gloom. I just try to bring it back to so much love for my Brownies.
Maybe 2023 is Cleveland's year.
I
So
don't
far,
know.
the Browns are 1-0, and Donovan's averaging 71
The Cavs
points a
are
game.
1-0.
Jim, we got to
And
know.
the Guardians made some
Here we go.
trades.
Is Aaron Rodgers
Bull.
retiring? Is he done this year?
I plead the fifth.
Let's hope so. By the way, speaking of which, the league, the NFL
played.
has completely
Well played.
screwed over the Seahawks. Have you seen this?
What?
I
happened?
have
because
seen
they don't
this,
own
yes.
their destiny.
Because the Seahawks, if they win, the Lions and Packers are playing Sunday night. So
Yes.
if the Seahawks win,
They'll have to wait.
they'll have to wait, but the
Until-
Lions will have nothing to play for because they'll be eliminated.
You're exactly right.
That's ridiculous. They
Yeah.
should have played those games at the
But
same time.
see, NBC is always going to flex the biggest game on that week, particularly week 18. And
How's that the biggest game,
Who
though?
they playing? Yeah.
We got to get the trivia.
It's the biggest
all right,
game
let's get
because
the trivia.
whoever wins that game goes to the playoffs.
Not if the Seahawks win. Lions are
Packers
out.
win,
if
they're
the
in.
Seahawks
Yeah,
win.
you're
Packers
right.
win, they're in. If the
It is
Seahawks win and the Lions win.
Yeah.
Then the
But if
Seahawks
the
are in.
Seahawks win, the Lions have nothing to play for, as Will
Right.
said.
Exactly.
Yeah, wow.
It puts them in a tough spot. All
Complicated.
right.
You guys ready for some trivia or
Yes.
what?
Yeah, let's
It's
do it.
Browns
Let's do it.
Steelers
Let's
this
do it.
week, so we should get these.
Technologists on this Browns Steelers rivalry.
We got to
Right,
get
next
rapid
year.
fire answers here.
Who won it? Okay, who won the very first
Browns.
game between the
Browns.
Browns and the Steelers back
Browns,
in
Browns,
1950?
Browns.
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 All right.
Quick
They
answer,
feel
let's
so.
see it.
All right, let's go. Let's go with Browns. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Doom,
Oh, yes.
doom, doom,
30-17. That's the most confidence you guys have ever had in a question. Okay, I love it. In an answer.
That wasn't a guess for me. I actually.
Well, in those days, the Browns were good and the Steelers weren't.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Absolutely right. Okay, number
Question-
2.
all right, question 2.
I feel like we need game show music. No, Mikey?
We can put music on.
What
All right.
What college football game mirrors the Cleveland versus Pittsburgh rivalry?
Huh?
Mirrors it?
In terms of like what? I don't even understand.
I mean, there's a lot of them. There's
I'm
Ohio
going to
State,
throw you
Michigan.
guys off a little bit, you know?
Could it
What
be
college
Iowa
football
against
game
somebody
mirrors-
since Iowa's uniforms look like the Steelers' uniforms?
I don't know. I don't know what the. I mean, they're.
Can you give me?
You guys are never gonna get this one. Let's show the answer. There's
It's a-
0%
it's-
chance you're gonna get it.
Case West.
Yeah,
No.
it's Western Reserve versus Carnegie Mellon.
I don't know.
Oh, because it's Cleveland and Pittsburgh. I get it.
I would have
Okay.
never got
I
that.
wouldn't,
Yeah, not in a billion trillion
I will
years.
have you guys. All right, let's go to
Never.
question 3. I think we're gonna get this one. I don't know.
Okay.
I have faith. All right, who is the Steelers' all-time leading receiver?
Antonio
We got some
Brown is
good
up
ones.
there. Lynn Swan is up
Stallworth.
there. Stallworth is up there.
Heinz Ward.
Heinz
Heinz
Ward.
Ward.
It might be Heinz Ward.
I was gonna say Heinz.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Heinz Ward. I think Heinz Ward.
Boy, Antonio Brown had some.
That's what
seasons,
scares
man.
me.
He had some.
But Heinz
years.
Ward played a lot longer.
He
in
did.
Pittsburgh.
He
I'm
did.
gonna go Heinz.
What do you think?
They were
I
a more
said
running
Heinz.
team though when Heinz was there. With the
I know
bus.
it ain't Stallworth or Lynn Swan.
Okay.
It's
Heinz,
between.
AB.
It's between
Whoa, are we
Antonio.
cheating on our phones? What's happening?
No, he's not looking up there. He never cheats. Bull's fair.
I think.
I'm not
think
looking it
I
up.
think actually it is Antonio Brown, to be honest.
You do think it's Antonio
AB?
Brown?
Yeah,
I'll give you a hint. Antonio Brown's either 1 or 2.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
dirty.
Brown or Ward. How do we want to go here? Bull?
AB or Heinz Ward?
I'll go with Antonio Brown. You talk to me.
I'll go with Brown too because I think Heinz Ward
Well, let's
they
go
ran a
with
lot
you
with the
then.
bus.
Yeah.
If it's Heinz
Right.
Ward, I'm gonna be
It's
sick.
definitely gonna be
Yeah,
Heinz
so
Ward.
let's go.
It's Heinz.
Let's get ready to be mad.
It's Heinz Ward.
Shot. Okay, they're going with
I told y'all, man.
Son of a buckskin rug.
I told y'all.
800 yards difference.
yards. But AB was second.
Yeah.
All right.
That's okay. You guys were right there. All right, let's bring up the next question. Former Steelers head
he's a
coach
linebacker.
Bill Cowher wore what number as a member of the Browns?
It'd be in the 50s. It'd be in the 50s.
He wore.
No, 57 was Clay.
He
Except
wore.
for Clay. What
He
happened?
wore a nasty number like 53. Don't nobody wear.
You know, he was my dad's backup on the Browns.
Wow.
That's why
He was a
Yeah,
backup. 58.
Yeah, and his nickname was Face. I actually ran into him at the Super Bowl a couple of years ago and
58.
told him who I was, and he like picked me up and he's like, "Your dad taught me everything," and I was like, "Okay."
Hey, man, you
He's
tell
the
Bill Cowher he
nicest
can't
guy.
be doing that, bro.
58.
You can't be running around picking up people, bro.
He got
What are we
something.
going
He
with?
got something
53?
nasty.
58?
He got
No
something.
idea.
He got something like 59.
That's what I'm saying.
Nasty
It's something nasty.
It's
58,
nasty. It's
59.
And the nasty number is something like don't
Right.
nobody wear. 53 and a quarter.
Let's go 53.
Okay. The answer is Bill Cowher won.
Because I started going.
Yes, sir.
And 57, 58, 59
Be
were all
something
taken.
nasty.
Good job.
Something that nobody wore.
We got 2 more, Mikey.
53 and a
One
quarter.
All right.
53.2.
All right. On September 9th, 2018, the Browns and Steelers played to the only tie in series history. Who scored the 2 touchdowns for the Browns in the fourth quarter to tie the game at 21?
2018. That was 4 years.
Man, if they couldn't have been throwing the
4
ball.
touchdowns, fourth quarter.
Wasn't that Nick Chubb's rookie year? No.
I feel like it was Carlos Hyde.
Could have
That's
been
a
Carlos
great
Hyde.
answer.
I feel it was like Carlos Hyde.
Oh, the same guy scored both touchdowns?
How about Johnson?
Duke Johnson?
Duke Johnson.
No, that year was Carl. You're right. That was Carlos Hyde was their starting back that year because that was Chubb's rookie year.
Yep.
18.
You know
He
what?
didn't
I
start
think
playing till the
Carlos Hyde
Raiders
played a
game.
lot in the beginning of the
Yep,
season.
and then
Dwayne Bowe.
Oh my
Wayne Bowe
God.
didn't have 2
I don't think he
touchdowns
had
as the
2
Browns.
catches for the Browns.
that game was rainy. The game. And
I think it's Carlos
I
Hyde.
would go with Carlos Hyde, too.
And Denzel Ward had 2 picks that game.
Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde, final answer. All right,
Let's
Mikey,
lock it
let's
in.
bring it up.
Let's
Yeah.
Bob Brown.
This is this next level? Do they get some sort of prize
Oh, there
for
was
all
two
of
different
these?
guys. And Tyrod Taylor and Josh Gordon. The way the question was worded made it seem like.
Oh, he did catch that. Josh Gordon was back.
Yeah, he was here.
He came back for a game, and then he
got his touchdown, and it was like, yeah, I'm out.
And got high again.
Y'all hilarious.
Was that the last one?
Man, I got
That
high.
was.
I'm claiming that as a W. I think we were
That's a
what?
big
four
dub.
Josh
Josh Gordon
us.
was on
I
the
think
field,
so, too. I
and
think
then he
this
got
week
high.
is a W.
Yeah, the
Mikey, what do
Carnegie
they
Mellon
get?
thing.
What'd you say, Jen?
Bragging rights? I don't know. What do they get for this?
I don't know.
Yeah, we gotta have some. We gotta have some steaks.
They get a chance to go home tonight and feel good about themselves.
Jen, thank
Finally getting
you.
these right.
Thank
all
you
about
for
prize.
joining us the whole football season. We appreciate it.
Yes, Jen, you're awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Happy
guys.
New Year.
Thanks,
Happy New
guys.
Year to the family and to the greatest linebacker not in the Hall of Fame, Clay Matthews.
Thank you, Jen.
We're going to do final takes?
We got a
Terrible
couple
when it
super
comes
chats
to
I got to read real
numbers.
quick.
Like
Okay.
player numbers. I'm never good at remembering player
I
numbers.
love player
That's
numbers.
All
why
players,
I never remember
all
that.
players,
it.
all players understand player numbers, and I thank goodness the league does one thing after I eviscerate them all the time. The league does one thing. Y'all let people wear some really cool numbers.
They do now, yeah.
See where
I
Y'all
actually hate
being
that
really
rule.
better.
I love
G.
it.
Bush, you
I'm in
had
the minority.
316,000 views on Twitter.
Is that the Rex Chapman?
Yeah. No,
Well, it's our tweet. Chapman
It's they
quote
tweet,
tweeted us.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah,
Hey,
G.
it was
Bush,
fire. It
Couple,
was hot.
couple NFL players have liked that tweet, by the way.
They should.
yeah?
Couple NFL players.
How about
have
the
liked that
Players Association like that tweet?
Yeah, get that man.
long snapper for the Packers.
Get
Up
that
on the other
check.
is Emory Jones, the quarterback at Cincinnati.
Shout out to
the
Emory
college
Jones.
level. But we got a couple super chats real quick. Tyvis, this first one's for you. It's from Charles T. Do you get more turnovers in man or zone?
Zone. Not even close. Zone. Next question.
Charles T. also wants to know the play the Browns blew the coverage on early against Crowder. What team was Crowder? He wants to know, is that man or zone with Ward on one side on the right? I think he means against the Jets. It wasn't Crowder. It's Corey Davis. I think that's what he's talking
Oh, yeah. That was I explained it. They had an empty check, and everybody didn't see it as empty. They had those two tight ends and grave digger positions, and they said that going into that week that they were not going to treat this as an empty. They were going to treat it as 2-by-1, and everybody wasn't on the same page. So every 10 players played something, played cover 3, Denzel played cover 2, and that's why that happened. So it was just a coverage bust by that.
And last one, this from Marjan Jamie, spelled very interesting. 2 A's and 2 A's in the first and the last name. Do you guys feel that they let too many players into the Hall of Fame annually, and do special teamers belong in the Hall of Fame?
They water it down with some of these people.
I think the NFL and baseball generally do a good job. And basketball's awful.
Some players that get in, it be watered down.
Hall of Fame
I
baseball.
think,
It's damn near
and
impossible.
I think football has it right. I think they
I don't think there should be a set number.
I don't
every
either.
year.
I don't like that.
I don't like the
But
set number
The special
either.
teams question, I've always been dumbfounded. At
If Matthew Stafford don't make it, it's robbery.
Stafford's a lock.
I would.
Yeah, I think
wouldn't
so
put
too
Stafford
because
in the Hall
of
of
this.
Fame.
But I special.
I mean, not Stafford, Slater. Excuse me, Slater.
Special teamers absolutely belong in the Hall of Fame. It's a third of the game.
Yeah.
It's not really a third of the game.
It is.
When you talk to great coaches, they treat it as if it's
I
a
know,
third
but
of
it's
the
not
game.
actually a
So,
third
for
of the
example,
game.
Devin Hester.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a no-brainer.
How about
No
kicks?
brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
You think it's important to the Baltimore Ravens that they have Justin Tucker?
Yep. And he's a Hall of
If any
Famer.
kicker's going to get in the Hall of Fame, I'd put him in.
And he's in Hall of Famer.
But
Vinatieri?
it's just something about a kicker.
You wouldn't put Vinatieri in?
No.
Vinatieri's in there.
The amount I do too.
That man crazy.
Vinatieri's definitely in there.
He's-
For me,
yeah.
the
Man's
amount
crazy.
of I don't love special plays teams deciding games, but those are the rules. And when you look at NFL games and how many how many Super Bowls have been decided by
Guys,
made
we
or
got
missed
to
field
cut it
goals?
off because we got to do final takes, right, Mike? You want final takes?
Yeah, we got a minute each. This is a minute
I got a
each.
quick
Okay.
one.
Go.
Let me give you a shout out.
Wait, you gotta
the Guardians signed 4 players to
You're
minor
both
league.
so excited.
4 players to minor league contracts. There's one guy that I'm really interested in. His name is Tuki Toussaint, okay? I'm not making his name up. He is a real player. He's 25, 26 years old.
Tookie Williams?
He was formerly a first-round pick of the Atlanta Braves about 10 years ago. Now, this guy's got
10 years ago. My God, Tuki.
Mikey, you want to tell these guys to shut up or should I?
What do you say?
You want to tell them to shut up or should I?
This is Bull's final take. Please
This is supposed to
respect
be my
his
final take. Shut the hell up.
Please respect his time.
Tuki Toussaint is a
Order your
guy.
playoff tickets.
Please respect his time.
Is a guy with a lot of arm talent who I think the Guardians can turn into something. He's been messed around with by the Braves. They called him up before he was ready. He was too young.
What position?
He's a pitcher.
Okay.
They've gone back and forth between the bullpen and the rotation. He's another guy in the pitching factory that is the Guardians that I could see this guy becoming a factor in the next year or so. There you go. Now that you guys rudely interrupted me.
All right, let's go.
Tyvis.
I'm sorry. Y'all is wrong.
Tyvis laughs like a kindergarten girl sometimes.
He does.
Wait a minute. All right,
What's his name again?
Here we go.
Tukey. What is this?
Stanley
Tukey
Tukey Williams.
Tukey. Watch that guy win the Cy Young this year.
I can't get it.
I was just laughing at the years, though.
I know, the 10 years thing got me.
Okay.
Yeah, but guys get drafted when they're 16 years old in baseball. This is not NFL.
Tyvis, go. You got 12 seconds.
All right, but shout out to the.
Your time's up, G-Bush. You're up.
Wait a minute. All the players, all the former players that's going to HBCUs and becoming head coaches. Shout out to Ed Reed for taking the job. Y'all actually making it cool. We got Eddie George at Tennessee State, I believe.
Tennessee State.
And then we had Deion at Jackson State. HBCUs is becoming cool. Y'all keep doing your thing, man. People would love to come play for you guys.
What about Hugh Jackson?
Because people come.
He doesn't count.
I respected. Mikey, yell at him and tell him to respect my time.
We have 40 seconds.
We have 40 seconds.
Go ahead.
I'm done.
I am doing my final take. It's going to take 10 seconds, but I'm doing it. Go.
I yield my time to the senator.
All right. From Bowling Green. Thank you. Can we get a close-up of this picture? Can we get a close-up?
Yeah, give us 1 sec.
I want to introduce you to Ohio University football stud, Parker Titsworth. And I'm done. That's all I wanted to do. Parker's a hell of a baller.
If you guys didn't, how much time do I have, Steve? 10 seconds?
I'm
Parker
not making it
Titsworth
up.
did a 5-minute interview with Barstool before the Barstool Bowl where Ohio played Wyoming, whatever it was. A phenomenal interview. I'll tweet it out.
Out of control.
No way.
Awesome. He's awesome.
Y'all are out of control today.
Parker Titsworth. I know they asked his dad, what's it like to be a Titsworth?
Why wouldn't you change your name if your name's Titsworth?
Why? Hell no. I might change my last name to Titsworth.